Late Night Grin. Also, what does that name mean?
Hello everyone. It feels very strange to be here on a beautiful Sunday night for Late Night Grim, but we are here nonetheless. It's been a wild weekend. We hope everyone is well. Hope everyone's had a good one. Excited about the week ahead. I actually am. I'm not even lying there. We have a big return tonight of our beloved Caden Lee. We'll get to that in a second, but the young guns in full force. Buster, how are you this evening?
I'm good. The Cowboys won in a game that should have been not as close as it was, but they won. I'm good. I've been chilling all day, doing nothing. Life's good for the most part.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Noviak, how are you?
Doing pretty good, Joe. You don't realize how stressful moving can be until you pack your first box.
Whoa.
And I've packed my first box today. Nearly had a panic attack because it was just like I own too many things was my basic conclusion. But it's okay. We're getting through it. Boxes are being filled up. Moving out here soon. I'm excited for the week as well. We have All Out this week, dude. It's big time.
We do.
We do. I
Do you-
didn't realize that.
Do you have any items that, like, you don't want to really take them and we could do a good bit where you sign them? Because that would be an incredible bit. Like a signed Novi thing.
I have
funny.
many. If we want to distribute those out, no worries.
Something that would be easy to post. Like the idea of doing like like a competition and the winner gets like some random Novi item with your signature on it.
Yeah, I'll give you like a shitty Wii game.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Buster might just try to buy that. We'll see.
You want the
Alright.
Smurfs dance game?
yeah, me.
let's talk turkey. But none of that really matters. What matters, of course, is that Caden Lee is back and he's ready to be in full Caden Lee mode. That's what I've
Yep.
sensed today. Caden, how are you?
I'm good. It's been a really busy 2 weeks for me. I had like move locations at my job. We all got sent somewhere else, and so I had to go through training again, which was really fun. And then I also got sick, so that was fun. I had my 1 year anniversary with my girlfriend on Thursday, which is why.
Come on. That was sincerely good, and you guys went so far that it felt like it was being mean.
No, congrats.
Look, there's our anniversary is 9/11, and we will. We'll
No.
never forget
Mine
that
too.
day.
Mine too.
No,
Dude, I'll never forget
No,
2 dates at least
no.
on that day now.
no.
And the day
Caden,
before.
Congratulations.
We'll never forget that week.
Congratulations, Caden.
Yeah, it was it was a pretty good week, honestly. Anniversary. I saw Hamilton in theaters. I don't think anything else happened, but it was good week. Really good.
Thank you, Caden. Folks, as you know, this is the one show we're going to do this once a quarter, I think, and we're just going to kind of watch wrestling matches and talk. We're not going to watch them on the air. We actually prepare for this show. That's why it's a special show.
Fucking sucks. I'm kidding.
Actual wrestling talk. You know, so on this show, if you look at the description, you'll see we got 10 matches from the last few months to work through. Each of those, there's a couple different voices. Not all of us watched every match, which was the plan. That wasn't laziness. We prepared it that way. I've seen all the matches, and we delegated accordingly from there. And I think it should be a fun evening, but I do want to just address a couple of things here at the top. We had a video on Friday, right?
Mhm.
And
Sure did.
I think anyone who got to see that or has caught up on it yet, I think Tope did a marvelous job on that
was
on that
really good.
edit, and I've always honestly visually a huge improvement on the first draft. So
Great
if
time.
you haven't already, check that out on LNG Productions. Speaking of LNG Productions, we will have a brand new video, hopefully tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, recapping the weekend that just took place, that we are concluding here. Yes, indeed. Some stories from my unique roller coaster weekend with Gallows and Gunn, which our beloved Young Guns were in attendance for that one. Some of that is my studio audience. There's some funny stories. My brother once again becomes a key figure. This time it wasn't his fault. And then Chuck joins me for a little Brit Rest talk with a little kind of RevPro spotlight, talking some about the show itself. Caden just sighed at the response in response to Brit Rest. But
Piece of shit.
that will be on LNG Productions tomorrow. I appreciate everyone that was cool over the weekend. Obviously, there were some very funny photos of me that emerged. And most people, 99% of people were very, very cool about those and, you know, seemed to think it was funny or were happy about it. So, love to everyone that's been cool. Speaking of being cool, I want to shout out our guy Adonis last night. Cena Saturday.
Yes.
Novi, you were in attendance. You were at the wheel. How did it go, brother?
We had a great time. We watched 3 different matches. Watched the Rey Mysterio title loss, unfortunately. We watched the Cesaro match, and then we watched Money in the Bank versus AJ Styles, a little 3-pack there. And we just had a great time. I made everyone watch NASCAR after because there was about 15 laps remaining. So, but everyone stick around. Everyone had a great
15?
time. Yes, it's a
doesn't
short track, so
it
it's
doesn't
like
take as long as
Okay.
Yeah.
even on like larger tracks. It doesn't take as long as you think.
no, not really. We had a great time. Just really good vibes. It was great to introduce everyone to Adonis, and we're thinking about running this back in the coming Saturdays. So be on the lookout.
There you go. And the Discord is moving. That's been the plan. It's starting to
Sure
happen.
is.
You watch Spider-Man in there, dude.
Which Spider-Man, things are escalating rapidly when it comes to the Discord. It is officially on the move, I think it's fair
We're
to
thinking
say.
about adding a fucking political debate channel.
Yeah, we're not doing that, but the Discord is moving nonetheless. I do want to. This guy Caden is out of control, man. I forgot that this was like the last version of Caden we saw before his hiatus. Was he would just laugh hysterically at everything that happened, and it was a
Yep.
little bit unsettling.
Yeah.
A moment ago, before we went live, I remember wondering why we were late, folks. And we were ready, and then Caden, you know, like we all play along with this thing where he pretends he has a cat, and he
Yeah.
makes the sounds, and he does the like.
Yeah.
He stepped away from the camera and began to make cat sounds to convince us that poor Moxley was entering a world of pain. Buster, I mean, that felt like a new low, right?
It was kind of weird. You can see his feet hanging off his bed. It was really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was strange. Hopefully it'll all work out. No, have you got any confidence in Caden turning it around after this sort of strange spell he's had lately?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've worried about Caden for a long time.
Yeah.
So it
Me too.
really does seem to take a dive around this time. I'm worried. I'm worried.
Yeah.
For the past couple months, ever since, you know, he's like, I
Yeah.
don't know, he's like high on like fucking pixie dust or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's a weird guy, but we like him.
Weird.
We do have a couple wrestling topics that we'll briefly touch on. Before we do, if you're fired up for a Sunday night Grin, we know this is a little bit different, and we know it's important to have a consistent schedule, but, you know, things happened. Please do smash, we're in the copyright to that now, smash the like button. I got it from Bob in our negotiations. One note I do want to make, in a more serious note, because I wanted to get this out there and also just speak on it for a second. On Wednesday night, Contrarian Alex, I'll be live for a Ricky Hatton versus Costa Zoo Grin Along. That is an iconic fight. I was pretty stunned this morning at the news of Ricky Hatton's passing. I'm aware that does not mean a lot to many of you, and this is a wrestling show. We'll move on in a moment, but an icon of British sport, a huge part of my boxing fandom as a young man when I was very, very young. Ricky Hatton was honestly a transcendent star here in Britain, and, you know, crossed over with the Mayweather fight and all that good stuff. And the Costa Zoo fight is kind of his magnum opus. So for those of you that are boxing fans, are aware of that story. True and Alex like Wednesday night. I know Alex was a huge Ricky Hatton fan, much bigger than I. Loved Ricky Hatton. So, yeah, that'll be on Wednesday night, but I just wanted to note that. And obviously, it goes about saying Ricky Hatton was very outspoken about his troubles and the challenges that, you know, throughout his life he encountered. I think everyone knows where we stand on this, man, but I think you can never say it too much. If you're going through some stuff, no matter how often it may feel like no one's out there to talk to, there's always someone. Always someone.
Literally
So,
anybody.
yes. And it's imperative that we always stress that message, I believe. Now, let's move on to something more. Well, something that I thought was very funny, but I've been told is actually less funny. So I was at RevPro and Andrade news broke. And naturally, I laughed. I said, that's very funny. And Charlie came over to me, have you heard the news? I said, yeah, it's very funny. And then today, I understood that things had slightly changed. The tone had slightly changed. And with that in mind, Fahad sent a super chat about 3 hours or so ago. I think Andrade's Fahad's like favorite wrestler, or at least one of his favorites. He said, "Happy Andrade Day." So Fahad's, much more on the positive side of this situation.
Joe,
Yes.
I gotta.
Yeah.
I've seen you celebrating, and like while I'm a giggly guy, giggles still come through every once in a while. I don't think your tone has been appropriate with this Andy situation.
That's what I hear. Yes. So here's the deal. Jokes aside, if by chance our friend Andrade Oidolo is encountering a severe drug addiction right now, I think it goes without saying that we are all wishing him the best. However, I do think it would be a pretty bold leap to take when being informed that a wrestler has failed a drug test. And for that reason, until he suggests to me that's what's happening, or someone suggests to me that's what's happening, I am most likely going to continue to be excited about Andrade having wrestling matches.
Mm-hmm.
There are most things I am willing to kind of call it down the middle and be pretty chill about, just everyone can have their own. I don't think I'm the weird one on this, guys. I got to be honest with you. I have had multiple DMs from lunatic accounts informing me that I should let Andrade have his space. I don't even know what the fuck I've said today. I think I posted a graphic of the bloke's real Latino man. I don't think I even said anything other than that. I don't know what the.
Listen,
honestly,
what these people don't
I'm
understand.
mad.
Yeah, I can tell.
Go for it.
What these people don't understand is that there's just all these fucking wrestlers in their grilled chicken and their fucking asparagus. Andrade does something different. He boils his chicken. He boils the chicken. No seasonings.
True.
Just straight up boiled chicken.
Hold on.
Raw
I have
asparagus.
to push back. I have to push back on you. He's a real Latino man.
Please don't push me.
There's no way he uses no seasonings on his food.
He doesn't use seasonings, bro.
There's no way.
That's
I
the
don't believe it.
difference.
I don't believe it.
That's the difference in physique.
So, Manny
No
the
seasonings.
Hooper actually had the funniest post about this, which was, let me find this shit, dude. He said, he quoted it, "It's just bad horse meat. Every great Mexican fighter and or luchador has to overcome this once in their career. He'll bounce back." And then he followed up with, "Bad enough Canelo lost last night. Now the Fed is trying to tear down another Mexican hero in Manny, who hates..." Now look, obviously, we're joking here with being silly. Look, I don't know what's going on with Andrade, okay? What I know is this, and I'm not a reporter. If you can go back and watch the shows, because I said it on a lot of shows. The word was out there at the start of this year that he was not happy in WWE, which is why there was multiple times on these shows with these guys and with other squads and with Ibu especially, because he used to think it was very funny. I would often say, I do not think he is long for WWE, because it was very apparent to everyone he was not happy there. That doesn't mean he wanted to get fired this week. I have no idea why he got fired. John's report made it very clear to you that there are many details missing from the story. I do not know. Luckily, that has never been something that I have shown any real interest in navigating. I'm not a reporter. What I know is this is being purely myself, but I think you guys co-sign this particular part of it. I like watching Andrade wrestle. And whether he is in CMLL, AEW, New Japan, DPW, MLW, or TNA, I am probably going to watch Andrade's matches just as I have for the past 8, 9, 10 years, whatever it's been.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, plain and simple. My still gut feeling on it is he's a very funny bloke who does very funny things. But I think people spend too much time trying to, understand him or figure. He's a pro wrestler, dude, and he's going to do pro wrestler things. He's a. Let's be honest, he's a throwback in that regard.
He very much is.
Yeah, I think he's, once things get drier creatively, I think he just kind of goes, well, I guess it's time for me to leave. I think that's just the way his brain works. So
he would have been a fucking demon in the 80s, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, again, awesome. If you're watching this, I think you know this. Obviously, we want all the boys to be happy and healthy. It's not, I'm not sitting there going, oh, God, I don't care at all if Andrade has it would be insane for me to assume he has a serious...
There's also,
it was like a leap to take.
There was no implication that was the case,
at his fucking body.
Yeah,
please, bro.
Let the boy, the boys, they do this thing. I don't know nothing about that world. Yes, Kate.
Yeah. There's also a real possibility that if he was ghosting the Federation anyways, that they gave him a drug test and he did not show up for it, which would also be a fail.
Well, to your point, and to be clear, I'm not necessarily of the belief that's what happened, but in John's report, he does know exactly what Caden just said. A failure can be a refusal to take a test. That was in John's report. So the details are so vague that John made it clear it could be that. Again,
have you considered that I'm dating his cousin? Maybe.
No, I haven't considered that. That was the thing that happened in my mentions today. There's a few things happened in my mentions.
Somebody actually did say that to Joe. He did say that.
Someone said that. It was the same person who said that AEW is where his addiction rampant. Why would I want him to go? Which, by the way, I don't give a fuck where he goes. I don't care. I just like Andrade. This is I'm sorry, folks. We're going to do the show in a second, but this actually is a great example of even this is now ruined.
Yeah.
You can't even just go, fucking hell, Andrade's funny, you can't do
that.
Anymore.
But it's also this could be me, being the woke mob. But
great.
If give me a second. I'm not little woke mob. But anyways, the idea is that we're all just excited that a wrestler is going to be wrestling somewhere else, and the possibilities that could come from it.
Yeah,
people are like, you piece of shit. Oh, so you want him to go to AEW? That's not what I said.
Yeah,
I said it.
I said it.
Well, no, I do want him to go to AEW.
I did say- I said it.
I want him to go to AEW, but I also want him to go to fucking CMLL, and I also
CMLL would be cool. Yeah.
CMLL is more what I'm after. TBH.
Fellas, there's a thing called a dual contract now.
Dual contract.
Oh, fuck. All right, let's move on. No,
for him to be wrestling, for him to be wrestling in CMLL, he's probably going to have a dual contract with AEW. Just
I don't know if MLW are going to split the bill on that. But yeah, the point of this is, firstly, thank you for the super chat. Secondly, Andrade is very funny. And thirdly, wherever he shows up, I presume there'll be grin-alongs and things of that nature because we like Andrade. This is true.
Mm-hmm.
And if by chance he's actually in a really bad way and is dealing with serious things, then obviously I will then change my viewpoint. I hope that was apparent before. If it was not, I presume it now is. Should we review some fucking pro wrestling matches, fellas?
Yeah.
If you want.
Now, as we go through these matches, if
you've
seen them,
Robinson, you're so
dude, that was a great run.
Good lord.
Fuck.
We're not even 20 minutes in, guys.
Novi, police them. You're the original Young Gun, remember? The original.
As he pulls up the
And
game.
don't forget it. I'm pulling up my fantasy team. It's different.
Oh, yeah.
The original. All right. The point is, as we go through these matches, if you've seen them, share your view in the chat, folks. I'm intrigued where everyone stands on these. We're going to go all over the wrestling globe with this one. 10 matches, most of which got great reviews. And I say this respectfully, because I like most of the matches, almost all the matches to some extent. what's interesting about doing this is great reviews are not necessarily an indication of like what the wider opinion would be if more people saw the matches, right? So like there are some matches that have great reviews because the people that watch it are, you know, they're like, it's like people watch this show, they like it, so of course they're fucking watching the late night Grin, you know?
Right, yeah.
Normal people don't come across this, do they? You know, so anyway, let's get started. We're going back to July 20th, Noah's 25th anniversary show, new departure. The returning Kenta, taking on Kenoh for the GHC heavyweight strap. This one got a bunch of buzz, and I think, you know, the match itself we'll get into in a second, but I think the narrative is a big part of that, right? Kenta, who's had a, God, I was going to say decade, but he actually signed, he went there to be 2014, so it's like, it's been a weird stretch for Kenta. Some definite highs in New Japan, but some lows too, and he's had this sort of spell lately where he's been, you know, like a figure on the US Indies and having very long matches in Defy and all this good stuff. Well, not so good stuff in some cases. But there's a magic to him back in Noah, and I think that captured the imagination. People were very excited about this, Buster. Was you as fired up as I was to finally have a reason to hit play on it? And then once you did, please tell me what you made of this, Buster. Take it away.
Yeah, I was excited to watch it just because of, you know, there is a lot of, like, if I can in 2025 be like actively excited to watch Kenta matches, that's a really cool novelty thing that I would be like very in on. As far as the match goes, it's about what I expected. Lots of stiff strikes, especially slaps. They start and end the match with both like brutal strike exchanges, especially the end of the match. Between that, though, there's not a whole lot of note happening, honestly. Like, they kind of battle for control a lot of the time, whether that's through like submissions or suplexes. They both have their time and control, just kind of, you know, throwing those damn strikes. And then they get to the finish where Kenta hits a GTS and wins. I think the match is kind of an example of what I've been fatigued by at this point, where like it's mindless might not be the right word, but mindless strike exchanges and like the fire ups and the setting down and letting the other guy kick your back, all that kind of shit. All of it is just really overdone and serves like no purpose, I don't think. It's kind of a style that's infected the brain of every booker in Japan since New Japan's 2010s, I think. Noah specifically, I think, suffers from it because they try and copy the style with worse wrestlers. So it's like it doesn't hit the same, and they also just go way too long. And like a lot of the roster isn't built for that. Why is Masaki Tamiya going 28 minutes? I don't really know, but fine. The match was good for what it was. I didn't leave it being like, holy fuck, I gotta watch more of this Kenta run.
So, I'm torn on this because I saw all the same things you did. You know, I mean, in terms of content, this is pretty one note, and there isn't really much a sense of like, you know, this sort of, there's not really an outline or dynamic or concept beyond the blokes just sort of whacking each other. And the finish, considering how much time they put in, the finish does feel... Sudden is more, to be completely honest, is probably more generous than the description should be. It just sort of feels like it's just time for him to hit the finish and go home.
Yeah.
But I still really, really like this. And I found it charming almost purely due to how much... Firstly, the setting. But also how much it was like palpable that Kenta was really happy to have this moment, you know? And it's an example of something we talk about a lot, which is matches, they don't live in a vacuum, right? In the sense that, like, everything you said was true. But for whatever reason, this worked for me differently than if Kevin Koo and Adam Priest had this exact match on a DPW show.
Right.
I'd be like, and, you know, everyone knows what I think of Priest, but, like, my take on that would be like, oh, fuck, I've had enough of this. But they're that's not what wrestling is necessarily. And for whatever reason, I found myself swept up in this kind of moment of Kenta back in Noah at Korakuen Hall. It has a lot of oomph, I think, and I do think it packs a punch from a sort of emotion point of view, even if I wish there was a little bit more sense of like escalation to the match, which is always an issue with when you have such kind of emphasis on just straight up strike firepower, right? Like bomb for bomb. When it's, because let's be clear, and you said this, but we didn't stress it. There is some sickening strikes in this.
They
thing. Like,
beat the shit out of each other. And to your point,
yeah,
there is a difference between like Kenta throwing a chop and having sweat fly off of Kenoh than if it's like Calvin Tankman doing it to fucking Trevor Lee or whoever.
Which isn't a reflection of Tankman
like
and Trevor
guys,
Lee.
Don't do that to me.
Yeah, it's not a reflection
on,
of wrestlers. It's like,
Talk about the fire, something,
when Suzuki and Joe trade chops, it has a certain gravitas, right? It has a certain cachet. There's a novelty to it. Yeah. Kenta has a little bit of that. There is some nice moments along the way that are, a little more detail oriented. I mean, I loved when Kenta gets rocked early and kind of fires up, and there's this sense of him trying to sort of prove a point that he can still do it. There's that wonderful strike exchange late in which they build to Kenta's kind of famed, like that overhand right that he throws is thrown more and more. Timing on that was great. The GTS near fall was strong. And it has to be said, spoiler alert, the pop on the actual finish itself was wow. I mean, whatever we think of the bridge to get to the finish, which did feel a little bit abrupt, the people exploded for Kenta's victory. I left this... I think I like this match more than you.
Yeah.
And I left it more intrigued about, like, Kenta as champion. I guess the question is, Buster, what has been the word on the matches since? I know the Marufuji match got much less, positive.
Yeah, I mean,
but...
I think honestly, it's just like it's like a weird way to put it, but just simply having Kenta back in Noah and him being the champion is kind of what's carrying the hype, I think, because the matches since then haven't been like critically acclaimed, I don't think. One more note on the match. I think what you were talking about with the, like where they were, like where they're wrestling, like, Korakuen, Noah and Korakuen, all that kind of stuff. I have no connection to this visual era and this aesthetic of Noah. And I think it's actually kind of shit. So like, it didn't like that.
It was dampened. There was no magic.
Yeah. Like if they had the fucking, even like the early 2020s and like late 2010s Noah logo, I think if like having that, like on the apron or just a better apron, because the apron they have fucking sucks. Anyway, just the visual, the aesthetic of Noah right now is really bad. It doesn't feel like Noah to me, like in any way, besides having Kenta there and Kenoh. I also just don't like Kenoh that much, so that could also be why I didn't love this match.
There were factors working against this, is what you're saying.
Yes. I might actually end up liking the Marufuji match more because it feels more like a Noah match to me.
I think...
Even if it's shit.
Yeah, I think you'd regret testing that theory. I
won't watch it, but I'll put it out there.
Yeah.
You just say, I'm sure I would like it.
Yeah.
I think your issues with this match are entirely fair and entirely apt. But I have to be honest, I really did enjoy this. I don't know, man. I thought this had some serious fucking punch. There was a magic to this for me, I have to concede. Kenta's story has been really interesting to me, and I've appreciated his willingness to be open about, kind of refinding himself as a wrestler, right? It fucked him up a little bit, what happened there. And, that's not a thing of like, what the WWE did to him, because look, the WWE stuff was crazy, but he also, that injury really fucked him up as a wrestler. Like, he came back feeling like a different guy.
Yeah.
Physically aging too, obviously, and he's had to find a new wrestler within himself.
I think there's a version of like Old Man Kenta that could legitimately end up being like my favorite wrestler, because he's just so cool, man.
Yeah.
He's so sick.
I got the chance to see him in DPW last year for Super Battle, and he wrestled like Blackwood, and it was the first time I ever saw him live, and there's just a presence about him. Like, I think
Yeah,
a lot
bro,
of people in
that's
that arena
fucking-
like had never seen him before, and it was just like, man, that's Kenta standing right there.
Kento, bro.
He's
Awesome.
a legend. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a legend, and I'm always happy to see him doing his thing. You know, I think there's at times he'll do these indie shows, and people have that kind of mentality of like how the mighty has fallen. It's like, I don't know, man. That's
Right.
wrestling. You know, and it's
It's really
like,
Yeah.
cool, actually.
I think
I
it's pretty.
hate that
yeah.
shit, dude.
Same, because I think everyone wants. People always want the guys to have these like Hollywood endings.
Doesn't always
like-
happen that way, man.
I actually think sometimes it's more romantic. Just be a pro wrestler, like until the wheels
Yeah.
fall off, dude. That's what he does. He's gonna wrestle forever. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know this. I'm sure in fucking 10 years they'll be calling on him to do a match in Noah, and he'll be out there trying his best, throwing
Mhm.
strikes, and people will be upset about it. But that's wrestling. So
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I really like this match. I thought Kenta did his absolute best to match the occasion, and whatever he has left, I think it was on display here. An edit probably would have improved it, to Buster's point, and you know, with considering the time they put in, they probably did need an idea or two, a set piece or two further along the way. But I had a great time with this match. Buster, you and I are continuing our little mini 2-man booth here. Naoya Nomura versus Yuma Aoyagi. This from All Japan, August 24th. I saw these two team up in that acclaimed. Remember that All Japan
Yes.
tag?
Yep.
An acclaimed
That
match
was-
from a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, that was like 2 months before Nomura ended up going out for like almost 2 years. He got injured
Yes.
in March. He like hurt his knee, and then he just was like, "I'm just gonna work through it. Fuck it." And then they were like, "Hey, bro, you ruptured your ACL," and he had to get a fucking surgery on his infected knee injury. So he's been out since then.
And unless I'm mistaken, Buster, there's been some concern about kind of the long-term ramifications of that on him as a wrestler, right? I saw some conversation about like, is he back? Can he do this still? And this
Right.
match, I think, was a pretty big statement in that regard, is my understanding.
Yeah, I ended up coming away from this match like really liking it.
Yeah.
Honestly, like a lot of it has to do with the fact that it kind of broke the mold a bit of what I just like expected the match to be. Basically, the entire start of the match is outside of the ring, and they kind of push a pretty good pace to start. Aoyagi's heat is good. Nomura gets thrown into barricades, and he fucking attacks them. The bump that starts Nomura's portion of the match, where he like punches Aoyagi out the top rope. Usually, you'll see guys like grab the top rope to brace for impact. Aoyagi says "fuck that," and he just straight up takes a shoulder bump from the top rope onto the apron. Looks wild. Nomura hits like some kind of suplex. I forgot the name, and he like keeps the bridge for a second, and he transitions into a Kimura, and it's fucking sick. All that to say, I think he's fine. He like looked really good in this match. Genuinely, I was really happy to see it. But yeah, I enjoyed the early portions of the match so much that when they end up going into strike exchanges a couple times, I'm like totally okay with it. A lot of that also comes from the fact that it's not entirely like no selling bullshit. There's some of that like they take some time to show some of the wear and tear that they've taken across the whole match, especially Aoyagi. He'll get hit and he'll like back up and he'll lean against the ropes and stuff like it's boxing. It's really cool. It also helps that they hit each other really fucking hard. Nomura especially hits Aoyagi like great. Fucking Nova, you'd love this match because sweat is flying everywhere on all the strikes. It's sick. My main gripe with the match comes at the finish. I've said this for years now. All Japan has a near fall problem where they just like they go over so much. It plagues literally all of their matches. The fellas never know when to go home. It's not as egregious here because they actually go home when the crowd is like at its peak in terms of heat. The heat peaked and they went home. The same cannot be said for other matches, especially literally every Kenta Miyahara match. Quick shot there because that guy fucking sucks. Now I am happy to see Nomura back.
Is that like a common belief, or is that a Buster hot
I have
take?
no
'Cause
idea.
I haven't seen him wrestle for a while.
I'm not sure. Every match he has is the same. It's all like fucking
Sad.
half-hearted
Huh.
lariats and clotheslines.
I remember being a big fan of a lot of the stuff Kento did with Aoyagi, who
Mm-hmm.
I think actually, because of All Japan's lack of stature
Mhm.
among wrestling fans now, he's like honestly really underrated to my eye. I mean, you know,
This is a huge win for me. Aoyagi's my guy.
yeah,
I fucking love Aoyagi.
it might not be. I mean, I'm the guy who wants Andrade to wrestle, you know, but I think he's really good. I mean, when I used to do the match guide, I used to really enjoy his work, and he
Mhm.
feels as someone who gets no buzz.
I will
you
say,
know,
dude, the match where Katsuhiko Nakajima wins the Triple Crown again, or from Aoyagi, go watch that fucking match, dude. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
that whole Nakajima thing was like,
It could have been
there was something there. There was
so fucking
magic
good,
there.
man.
But I think we have a bit of a role reversal here, where I think I like this match slightly less than you,
Fair.
but more interesting because I did really like the match. What stood out to me was we had different experience for this match, where I thought the first 2/3 were like very solid heavyweight wrestling, but kind of standard fare.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you disagree with that assessment. You just really appreciated how standard and how sort of not standard as in type. I mean the conventional sense of it. You know, just
Yeah, because it's not
pro
like
wrestling. Yeah,
they're wrestling. I've come to hate the idea of like, let's see how hard we can hit each other, but like not sell for it, not like it just doesn't
Yeah.
matter in the match like at all. Like Kenta and Kenoh, they kick the fuck out of each other's backs for like a minute and a half. They don't sell their back for the rest of the match.
yeah. So like, what you appreciate was they actually took their time, and by the time they got to the bombs, it was earned. Basically, is your point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely can see that, and I mean, to that point, the final third is pretty spectacular in this
It
thing.
is.
I mean, they go through the gears, and Nomura in particular turns in maybe the most explosive performance of the night in terms of when he's firing those elbows.
Yeah, bro. That part where he's like, just like fucking constantly, like he
Just
doesn't
elbowing
stop.
him in the face. dude.
Oh, so good. And also, one more note: that pin where he does a spear, but then he like rolls into a pin when Aoyagi lands.
Yeah.
Fucking sick, dude. So
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, and there is a little bit too, like when they're doing those first 2/3, there's a little bit of kind of a wrinkle with Aoyagi's lower back, right? As a weakness, and that, they kind of have that as a kind of a theme in that early stretch. But the main thing that stood out to me, while I agree with you that that it's a fine line in terms of the excess, those near falls, man, like
I mean,
my
yeah,
goodness.
they were successful near falls and they were good.
Yeah.
I think it didn't bother me like nearly as much in this match. It just, I honestly saw it and when I was kind of scared, or I was like, oh fuck, here we go again, man.
Yeah, no, I definitely get it, but man, they really sometimes these shows like, and obviously I'm someone who just stops in, but sometimes these shows can have a kind of cold vibe, and like these near falls definitely broke from that. Dude. This place was rumbling by the end. It had a real feel, and to the point where like the finish of the match felt like a happening, even though it was just like a first round tournament match. So yeah, I think more of our audience would have seen the Kenta match.
Yeah.
And I think if you haven't seen it and you have an interest in Kenta, you should watch it. If you don't have any interest in Kenta, I don't think it's worth watching. This one, I would presume most of our audience did not see, and like I think is worth watching. This is also not super long, Buster, right? This
No,
is,
it's not like
Yeah,
16 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that.
yeah, and see what part of the match. I'm intrigued from our audience, especially, which part of the equation pops the more. Is it the more kind of deliberate offerings early, or those bombastic near falls late?
Yeah.
Very strong stuff from All Japan here. What is the vibe, Buster? Do you know of All Japan? Because I know the N1 has sort of dampened any enthusiasm. With All Japan, where is it more of the same? Just kind of.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jun Saito, I'm pretty sure, is still the champion. Until he's not, I probably won't watch consistently. There was a point there where I was like, there might be something to these guys. There's not.
Sad.
But yeah, it's kind of the same. I think maybe like a little worse than Noah, to be honest, in terms of hype and enthusiasm.
I mean, unfortunately, the aforementioned Nakajima thing kind of felt like if that wasn't going to be an actual thing of change, I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, this is kind of just who they are, which, whatever. Nonetheless, I'll tell you what has changed a lot, Buster. The NXT brand. Speaking of the NXT brand, before we get into our next match, I do have an announcement.
Oh,
Holy shit.
Myself, Novi, and Manny the Hooper will be live this Tuesday. NXT Homecoming. The return to Full Sail featuring Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, Tyler Breeze, Gargano and Ciampa, Carmelo Hayes, Tiffany Stratton, Stephanie Vaquer, the works. All of the above. For better or worse, William Regal is there. Jean-Paul Levesque is there. Unless Kill Tony books him for an extra date, time will tell. But as of right now, that's our plan for Tuesday. Myself, Novi, and Manny the Hooper. So we hope to see you there live and free. In the meantime, let's talk about Heatwave. August 24th, Javon Evans, Oba Femi. This one got big time hype. It's hype that has maintained in the sense I think most people really like the match, but the level of hype has probably lowered a little bit
that.
because when the show, what I mean is, Novi, when the show aired, it got was this the best match in the history of the company thing?
Oh, okay.
More people watched this and it was really good though. This was in Lowell. At that building I've talked about before. It's a very notable WWF building. It hosted a lot of those Raws in the 90s. Samoa Joe on the NXT title there. And here they were for a takeover. I've noticed this before, and I don't know what this is not NXT Heatwave, this is WWE Heatwave.
Yeah.
Which is... Are ESPN showing these moving forward, or is it still
No,
Peacock?
It's still Peacock.
Which makes it even more fascinating. Like how that would be listed contractually fascinates me because it's called WWE. Maybe moving forward there'll be NXT shows again, but everything I found was WWE Heatwave for this. So obviously it's an NXT show. We know this, but nonetheless,
That might be ESPN. I don't know. That's actually a good question. Now that I think about it, Joe, it's actually I don't know.
yeah. Well, we'll find out. We have to find out pretty soon, right? I'm sure they've got one coming up. Nonetheless, this was set up kind of loosely many months ago in Vegas. I was there, of course, for that triple threat with Trick Williams, Siobhan Evans, Hunting, Redemption. Very charming babyface to my eye. He had a skit with The Undertaker that appeared to be very funny. The Undertaker obviously is being put to work to an extraordinary degree, really. A man who is just... He has 8 jobs now. God only knows what they're paying him, but he's out there doing his thing. He's a podcaster. Javon beat Trick to earn this shot via Mike Santana distraction finish. And let's get into it. Heatwave, Caden Lee. What did you make of this?
Yes.
Javon and Oba got a lot of buzz. 2 guys that are very highly thought of at the moment, Caden. What did you think?
I thought this was a good match. I thought... I went in knowing what the match was going to be, and I had heard all the buzz about it. So I was kind of interested to see if it would end up clicking for me as much as it did other people, because I think modern WWE and even NXT, even with matches that people love, it's just not, it doesn't land with me as well. And I do really like Oba Femi and I like Javon Evans. And so what they did, I did enjoy. It's not necessarily my type of match. And I don't think that surprises anybody. A lot of it was Oba beating the shit out of Javon Evans, which did rule. And then you have Evans getting his comeback moments, and he looked very strong in what he was doing. And you believe in him as a babyface coming from behind. What really ruined it for me though was the referee stuff. The stuff with the referees. You have a ref bump in there that I did not think was necessary. You do a visual pin, and you do basically a dusty finish, kinda. It wasn't a full dusty, but it was close enough. Yeah. And that took me out when I if you're going to do it, just pull the trigger and put the belt on Javon Evans.
You young folk fucking hate anything with the referees, don't you? It amazes me. I don't even
really,
like
like,
this.
It's got at this point. It happens too much to where I just don't care anymore.
It's a Twitter thing.
I don't know. I didn't think it was that big of a deal in this. Like Max's use of the referee at Bindor was a lot. That was a lot. He did like a fucking silent movie routine with Bryce, but
I thought that was significantly worse.
Yeah, no, I know you wouldn't say this was better. This wasn't better, but it's just it doesn't bother me as much. But that's fine. I mean, I don't think you're alone in that opinion by any means. So I really, really like this. I have a range of different faults because with guys like this, you can kind of get a little deeper in the note taking process because obviously they're so new, right? Like Javon's, I think, 21, and Oba's only been wrestling for a couple of years. So there's elements to their game that are a lot more raw. And I'll get into more of those in a second. But to Caden's point, very much a big man, little man match. They immediately established that kind of size and strength of Oba and the people who are with Javon. He fights from underneath. Very classical outline. And Novi a lot less reliant on set pieces than I expected. What did you make of this Heatwave main event, Novi?
Like Caden Lee, I struggle a lot with NXT. It's just the visual of it, it's hard for me to engage with anything, which is why it really did help me get like with this match, the building they were in, just didn't look like NXT at all. It was pretty sick. The crowd was also like kind of electric for this match, to be honest with you. They were with everything. Like you said, it's just a very classical match. It's exactly the kind of thing I expected from both these guys. Javon's bumping really hard for Oba's like sick powerhouse offense. Just a really good time. There's like an extended heat that goes like when I talk extended, it's basically the whole match where Javon just gets his ass beat, which actually rules because Javon knows how to like bump and sell. And he did a really good job of that for being so young and for being in NXT because TBH, a lot of those guys don't know how to do it. So it's good to see him do it correctly, correct in that sense. But I'm not really with Caden Lee fully. On the ref stuff. I also really don't like that a lot of the time, but that's because I don't think people execute it right. I think it was actually done really well here. Like they pulled it off where it was clear that like the ref actually didn't see it. It was just barely underneath the ropes and the crowd sold huge for it. I really had no problem with it because they did it in a productive way. And also another reason why I didn't have a problem with it because Oba just launched Javon into the fucking announce table after the spot. Just murdered him from the ring to the announce table, which was godly. I know I've seen that, like he does that stuff sometimes where he goes through the announce table like from far distances. That looked incredible and really was like, who is gonna beat this guy? I really believe in both these wrestlers. I think they put in a great performance. I don't think it's one of the best matches in NXT history, but it was, again, very good. So
I agree. I really liked it. I'll kind of just work from my notes because I have a lot for this because Oba Femi really intrigues me as a, here we go, Caden, prospect. He is among the more can't miss kind of guys I've seen emerge from that system ever, to be honest. I think even with bad creative, he's a lock to be the world champ. He's just like, I don't really see, unless injuries or something happens personally. Like I just
he also just has like a crazy mind for the business. Like
yeah, he
when
seems
he
to have a
talks
feel
about
for
it
in interviews and stuff, he like that's
the
classic.
Gunther match. Somebody asked him about the Gunther match, and he was like, "It needs to happen because like it makes sense, not because the fans want it, not because it's like some big dream match, just because like it makes sense." You know what I mean? It's sick.
He seems to have a feel for wrestling, and that's been really on display in these last couple matches. Like in this match, I was kind of expecting it to be more glossy than it was. It was very poised and polished for two younger guys, two greener guys.
Yep.
There are a couple moments where Oba he hesitates, and that is not an indication that Oba sucks. That's just he's just new. But like he'll do like little stutter steps where he's not sure where he needs to be or when, which is natural. And Javon Evans, I thought throughout this was great at like filling those guys. There's one moment earlier where he hesitates and Javon just punches him in the face, which for the people, what you're really doing there is protecting Oba because his hesitations are hidden by your own kind of, go get him as a babyface, right? So That stood out. Oba's control segment is extensive. He kind of works the back. And he does have those moments, but there's a lot of things that I think, so that you can't teach is silly, but I think he pulls them off more naturally than most guys his experience ever would, or honestly, most guys in wrestling do. For example, early on, Javon sits him down with a super kick, and he does this, like, oh shit face, like, oh, this kid's got some fight in him, you know? And, like, a lot of guys do that thing, and it comes across so goofy and theatrical, and with Oba, it was like, you totally bought it as this big fucking guy, just being like, oh, this guy's got some fight. I love the way they always place his big chop, that running chop he throws in the apron as like his big, you know, transformer, the thing that cuts people off. And he's found a nice offensive game that suits him. He hit this big gut buster along the way. They kind of have some fun with the idea of like, can Javon lift Oba, which is very old school. Oba's got a great spine buster. My biggest issue with the match, my biggest issues came in the final third. They were not the ref bump. I actually thought the ref bump was executed really well with the push off, flinging him into the ref. That was pretty creative. My biggest issues were, I didn't like how much Javon rallied with forearms. I get what they were going for, and I know, like, the idea was he had to climb up the hill, and Oba has a really good stagger cell, like a kind of Yokozuna-esque, like, will he, won't he fall?
Mm-hmm.
But Javon is really, really thin, and I just think there's so many better ways to launch a Javon comeback than him throwing forearms against the guy of that size. Like, it stood out to me. Like, he has a comeback that kicks off with forearms, Oba cuts him again, then he throws punches, and it's like, I think it's great that Javon is, you know, tight with his strikes and is a guy who likes throwing punches, and that's great for him in every other matchup. Against Oba Femi, I feel like his comeback should be him, like, being Spider-Man and fucking evading and doing this, slipping under him, going over the top of him, springboard, boom, 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 rather than just running straight at the target with strikes. Mm-hmm. Now, again, time and a place, as a babyface, I totally get why the logic was what it was, which is, like, it makes him look really gutsy and tough and spirited. I didn't think the visual was particularly flattering. That's the only thing I would say.
I would agree with that. It was noticeable. Like once as the match went on, he did it a little bit more, and it was like I could notice the comebacks kind of falling off. With me personally, like the building loved it because they were just there for the comebacks. But like,
yes, they loved the match. Yeah,
the actual offense that I was looking at, it's like I think there's something more dynamic we could do, and I'd like for him to kind of play with that a little bit when he's up against these bigger wrestlers.
Yeah, and part of the reason it stood out more was that the match was so restrained before that, and like whenever they went head to head, Oba killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like it's a compliment to them. It stood out, but it's just something that stood out, and also they get their wires crossed late on the splash. I don't know if you guys saw that, where I think Oba was supposed to block the splash, so Javon kind of came down. Like he was gonna, you know, when a guy gets their splash blocked and they come down obviously lighter because they don't want to fucking break their ribs. They come down like on their shins. Oba didn't block, so Javon just kind of like, it looked like he kind of whiffed because he was just left in the air. So that, again, I want to be clear how I word this. If it's not apparent, I love both these guys. I'm just giving you my opinion on the match. In front of a less enthusiastic crowd, shit like that will be more, you know, jarring because some of the fans you'll encounter on main roster shows are going to watch these fuckers wrestle like this. Like, impress me, dude. You know, that's what. Whereas this crowd was, to their credit, good for this crowd and good for NXT. They was let's fucking go NXT. So after that miscommunication, there is a like spell of kind of they're trying to figure out where they are, and ultimately they just settled on Javon going back up and hitting another splash, which is fine. But that is just a thing that, you know, will come with time. It's just experience, and nothing beats experience. And Oba Femi, obviously, his match count is irrelevant. A lot of his matches are him just fucking obliterating people. Him being this good is staggering, to be honest with you.
He should have.
So yeah, I thought this match was really, really good. I liked it a lot. And I think it is really, really important for Oba's development that he continues to have real matches like this. And like the last match with Nomura, where it wasn't the lads running into each other, the crowd trying to meet. They had like an actual heavyweight wrestling match. I'm very encouraged. I think it's easy to be critical of the PC performance and, you know, the performance center coaching, but in fairness, like I actually think it's hard to be critical of their handling of Oba. I think it seems like they've given him the right tools, and the creative's obviously great on TV. But I mean, as a wrestler, it feels like he's on the right track. So
He's been supported.
He's a special talent, and I think Javon is too. And I really, really like the match. So good stuff from Heatwave. If you haven't seen that, I think it's worth watching. 20 minutes or so. Might surprise you if you're expecting something more kind of set piece heavy, something more sort of, because the table spot went viral, right? So I think I was expecting there to be a lot of stuff like that. There isn't. That spot is built to. So good stuff. This only on actual wrestling talk do you get a shift like this, boys. So we're now going to go from this Oba Femi Javon Evans Heatwave match to GCW Homecoming Night 2. From, I believe, the same night, I think. This is
it was
the main event of that show.
Wow.
Bear Bronson, Matt Tremont happening here. Now, Noviak and I wanted to do this match. We fought for this in the ballroom, and we have both watched it. And before I go any further, because I have positives and negatives about the match itself, I want to say the reason I wanted to do this, the reason I'm interested in this is I think the Bear Bronson thing is cool. In that, look, the Iron Savages legitimately is one of the worst acts of the decade on wrestling television.
Yes.
And with all that happened with Boulder, like, it was very apparent to anyone, and I think it was apparent to Bear Bronson too, that he needed to start fresh. Like, he needed to start over.
Yep.
There was not much interest, I think it's fair to say, in Bear Bronson doing half of the Iron Savages act while, the public responded to what happened with his tag partner and that shit. And I know he's handled that, I think, about as well as you could possibly expect him to handle it, to be honest with you. So I'm happy to see him reinvent himself and go in this direction. He has a whole new vibe, a whole new look, and he's all in on being, a deathmatch wrestler. He has kind of got buzz as a result of this and has thrown himself into it. And it has to be said, these are full-on fucking death matches, dude. These are like, they're not, these are not TV death
no
matches,
punches.
dude. Yeah, this is a full-on death match. The idea of this match is that Tremont is like, Bronson wants to prove himself as a legitimate deathmatch guy. Tremont, who's obviously a legend in that domain. It's very bloody, Novi. I don't think this is really either of our things, which we should note before we go any further. But like, what did you get? What did you think of this? As someone that does, I don't think you watch a lot of death matches, rather this kind of death match anyway.
I don't watch a ton of death matches, but like, the one thing I'll make very clear, I do not get squeamish at death matches. I like blood. I think it looks really cool.
Tough
like,
guy.
It doesn't bother me. But I know like some people when they criticize death matches, like, there's too much blood. If you don't like blood, please don't watch this match because there's a lot of fucking blood.
I agree, yeah.
And like you said, I will always support a wrestler who's going out there and trying to be something that they believe in, do something different. I think that's always a cool thing. It's same thing with like Mike Santana. Very different than what Bear Bronson's doing, but still I support it. The current, like, when I do tune in for deathmatch stuff, and when I do happen to come across GCW, watch a show earlier this year, I do kind of struggle with the way that the matches are laid out. It does feel like there's a set of spots that every deathmatch kind of needs to hit like a checklist. And this match, like, while it does play with that a little bit, there are plenty of moments where they are going off that checklist and they are doing the thing. They have like, oh, let's go here and let's do our light tube duel. Let's stab you in the head with a broken light tube. And that's cooler. Let's go through a door. It's cool or whatever. I'm fine with that. But also, these are two big lads. And this match is 24 minutes long.
Oh my God.
So it's a little tough for the boys as they continue. I think probably the worst spot of the match, if I had to give any worst spot of the match, they go to the apron. And it takes them a little bit to get there, to slide under the bottom ropes. There's glass on the ground. That might be it. I don't think it was that. I think it was something else, something larger, if you will. And they go outside and they kind of stare at each other, look around. They go, I'm going to pick up this light tube. Takes a minute to pick up the light tube. And it looks like they're going to, swing the light tubes like lightsabers and they're going to break. Oh, no. Tremont kind of just, and then Bear Bronson catches it and they just do, I don't even remember what they do. It was so like, I was like, what am I looking at? Like, this is whatever. But then afterwards, get this. They go from the apron to these 2 doors on the outside that are set up. And unfortunately, the doors do not have, I don't know what doors they got, but they snapped down the middle. Nothing else broke. I think Bear Bronson spiked himself directly on the floor. And his remedy for this was to shout. It was cool. It was cool. But it also was like, I don't know about this one because they went down a little weird, let me tell you.
All right.
Strange.
Fucking safety police over there. They've got fucking glass tubes, bro.
I'm not saying safety police. I thought the spot looked like ass. That's what I'm telling you. I thought it didn't look good. And Bear Bronson, however, going to the crowd and saying, hand me a beer, and then chugging high noons afterwards. Now that's cool. Okay.
That rules.
I can get down with this. The one spot we should say, though, is at the very end, because scaffolding is set up next to the ring. And the big fellas decide, we're going up. And it takes, it's been a long match. It's a grueling affair. Bear Bronson's back is leaking blood. Tremont is leaking blood from his forehead because, of course, he is. That's what he does. And they find themselves on top of there. Bear Bronson takes a dive through a glass pane and a door to the ring. And I thought, I wonder what's going to happen because Tremont didn't go with him. Tremont then goes from the scaffolding to the ring and delivers a splash.
Fucking splash, bro. The big man.
Splashed him. From the top of the scaffolding, what a visual it was because it was sort of like it was
the finish. To be fair,
it was the finish.
That rules. Pin. Okay, I'm back.
Immediate pin. So there's parts of this match where you go, this is why I don't like watching deathmatch wrestling and I don't watch GCW. And then you see Matt Tremont jump off a scaffolding and you go, well, maybe there's something we can all take from these encounters. I wouldn't go as long as they did here, but good time.
So my thoughts on this are kind of all over the place, and some of them are not really things for these two. Well, not for this match anyway, to really, wear. And they're kind of broader, which I think Novi touched on. I like this more than I disliked it because I watch this stuff so little that there is a novelty of blokes just stabbing each other with stuff and sort of bleeding everywhere. I do have to stress, we talk about bleeding a lot in wrestling. I mean, the amount of blood in this match is legitimately I'm not
crazy,
squeamish,
man.
but it's fucking insane. I mean, Bronson's entire back is just red at one point.
And it happens very early too. Like that, the bleeding starts at about minute 6 on the back.
Right. And I watch so little of this stuff that there is a novelty of that to me. And I do appreciate how much Bronson is all in. Some of the issues with this, I'll just get into them now, that are out of this match's hands that I'll just reference. Because again, I'm more positive in this than negative, but the idea that violence for violence sake is not necessarily pejorative. You can just be violent for violence sake. That's allowed. You don't have to pair your violence with some sort of theater cutscene to make it less, it can just be violent sometimes. Yeah. However, I do think there is an issue a little bit with how there's only one word you should say, how triumphant it's kind of framed sometimes in the sense of it isn't even about winning a fight. It's just and now we get to see the glass and that is more of a conceptual thing, but it's so baked into who GCW as a promotion. It's presented almost like it's like a course the guys are filling out. About the checklist thing.
It's a checklist.
Yeah, that is hard, I think. And with these lads, because they are bigger lads, and obviously Matt Tremont has put his body through fucking hell and back. There isn't a great deal of urgency or pace to the affair, which is fine. But when it's 24 minutes, they have to pace themselves. And in the second half, there is a really big lull as a result of that.
Bad for a minute. Because Tremont has to kind of recover. And I want to
Yeah.
mention too, when you're talking about the checklist again, the one specific moment I'll point to at that is they had the box of light tubes, like it was just a box of them, and they just took turns like hitting each other over the head. And it's like
Right. Yeah.
you're just doing it to do it because they're just no selling it. So it's like
Right. And the thing I will say is defend this match is the parts where it's like, I mean, the announcers at one point call it a pissing contest. And like, in fairness, the spot you're describing, at least it makes sense for this particular match because the idea is that Bronson wants to like prove he's a real deathmatch wrestler. The issue is, I don't know, like, I don't feel like it's an outlier. I feel like I've seen this done, you know, it's common. And I think the way that this presented, it results in a vibe where like the actual genuine danger of what they're doing is undercut by how sort of like playful it feels, which is a crazy word to use for something this violent, but it doesn't feel like a fight enough sometimes. You want more like chaos in there, you know? And well, I do anyway. Everyone likes different things, but it's too sort of, it's like a plodding version of brand of violence.
I think,
yes.
A good example of what you're talking about, of like what you would have rather have been in terms of vibes, maybe not as like different in terms of like how the crowd responds to Bronson or whatever, but with Cardona coming in as like, you know, WWE guy now doing death matches, that match with Nick Gage is like, the violence feels so much more like, oh, shit.
Because Cardona's in there as like, I can't wait to get out of here, which makes it feel urgent and desperate. Yeah. No, right.
But it's different because Bear Bronson's in there and he's like trying to prove that he belongs in there. It's just how do you like? There's a middle ground there that could be nailed.
I think
here's a match that breaks that mold a little bit. It's still actually for me personally, I felt it struggled with it. Kasai and Despy 2 earlier this year. I felt like that was a little like this in some way, but it was also just more urgent. It had more feeling about it. Like you have to different standings, you know. It's like
Kasai and Despy are like
history.
Yeah, they are now like tied together literally forever. So like I think they nail that feeling in there. I think the match in 2022, I think, is like a perfect death match, and it's like it nails everything that death matches are about. You know what I mean? And like the vibes coming out of it are so. I'm not going to gush about this match much longer, but it's a fantastic match. The match earlier this year it's weirder. Like it's not as like. I get your point. Is what I'm saying. It's weirder. I don't know.
Feels more like that checklist to me in some ways. It's like, and I just think a lot of death matches struggle with that. I watched Tremont in person this year. I saw one of his matches, and in person, it's like that is a vibe. Like when you're in the building watching one of his matches, it's a little different. But when I'm watching it at home, that stuff doesn't translate. So it's just like, and as credit to him, like the people in the building, they always love Matt Tremont. But if I'm watching it at home, I struggle with it. You know, it's tough.
Yeah, I don't know. I get it, and it's not something I'm going to go back and watch often. I appreciate the finish was like the big spot in the match, and they got a good reaction. And I thought generally, spiritually, there was enough here that I sort of went, I appreciate this. It isn't really my thing, but I appreciate what Bronson's trying to do, and you know, I think you can't question his effort. I mean, good God Almighty, it's like. He's certainly all in on this thing. I liked it more than this conversation probably suggests because we kind of talked about death matches. And the kind of vibe of death matches is pretty challenging. But I don't want to, like, overwhelm what these guys did with that. I want to say, while I do wish it had a little bit more energy, considering how much time they were putting in, they fucking destroyed themselves in the name of GCW Homecoming. The finish was great. Bronson, you know, has got obviously a lot of energy because he's excited about this run. And it did, you know, for all of the talk, and it's not just talk, it's the truth, let's be honest, GCW hype-wise is a distance short of where they were a couple of years ago. Their crowds still can be, you know, very energetic and very excited, and this crowd was really into this, right? They saw this as a big deal. So
that's also just like Homecoming itself has it's the hardcore crowds, right? It's their big show,
right? And if the idea was to legitimize Bear Bronson in front of those fans, it worked. No question. I think the match would have benefited from a trim. But I'm glad I watched it because I was intrigued by it. And, you know, good for the lads. They bled a lot. God, they bled all over that place. Good God almighty. It was a scene. So, yeah, interesting stuff. Death matches, you know, that evolving world kind of fascinates me. So I like to check in occasionally. Speaking of checking in, it's a good time, Caden Lee, people to check in with us. What can they do if they've liked this video?
If you like this video, go down below and you can smash that like button. We got, as Joe mentioned, we got the trademark. We're all good. You can smash it.
Yes, we can.
And, you know, look, I'm not going to be loud like Novi. Novi likes to yell, smash the like button. Bob's a little bit more in the middle between myself and Novi. I like to go a nice little calm smash.
You like a little calm smash? Is what you're
Hulk
saying?
doesn't have to yell Hulk smash every time. Sometimes Hulk wants to be a little timid.
Not sure. I'm not sure it's going to get the trick done. We'll see. All right.
Only one way to
Tokyo
know.
Princess Cup Final. Do we have the date on this? I haven't got the date here. What am I doing?
8/20. Or no?
It was
Was it? That
August
long?
24th.
Yeah. There you go.
August 24th.
Yeah.
Arisu. Endo. Is it Endo or Endo? The English announcer was saying Endo.
Endo.
It feels like it should be Endo, but they didn't say it that way. Neither announced it that way.
Unfortunately, I feel they're wrong.
I don't know. It's Endo.
All right. Endo versus Miyu Watanabe. Many of you will know. Big fan of Miyu.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's awesome. And this match was slightly frustrating for me in that I felt it was a good match that had a great match trapped inside of it. My gut feeling here, boys, I want to steal your talking points. I thought conceptually this match had like the outline of a fucking incredible wrestling match. And there are a couple of things that stopped it from quite making it. But I did like it a lot. And I left it even more bullish on Miyu Watanabe. I'm intrigued where all three of you lads watch this, right?
Yeah.
You love Tokyo Joshi Pro. Caden Lee, did you like this?
I did. This was my last one that I watched, and it was the one that out of what I had picked, it was the one where I just mainly wanted to just watch it, and because I haven't seen either of these women work, and I've heard really good things about Miyu Watanabe, so I wanted to pick one where I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sit back and watch wrestling. And while I did really like it, as you mentioned, Joe, there is something better trapped within it because I came away liking it, yet not remembering much about it.
Yeah.
Nothing really stuck with me the way I wanted it to, even though it all clicked. And I think both of the women did do good work. There wasn't anything there that was that's gonna make me remember it going forward. I think Miyu. I think they did like a good job of portraying Miyu as like just the powerhouse there.
Yeah.
And I liked watching what.
No, carry on. You're absolutely right. It's not your fault.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, you had Spawn. They did. She's the powerhouse in there. Yeah, go for it.
I picked 4 matches and 3 of them were women's matches. Those
Jeez,
are mainly the
just
ones
don't
I put
sell.
up.
Don't sell. Just go.
I also think I thought Endo looked fucking awesome. Her hair, the immediate thing I noticed was like her hair rules. I was like, okay, that's awesome.
Really sick.
Yeah.
It was just like it was awesome. Miyu too, like same thing of just like the aesthetic fucking ruled, and I was like, okay, lock the fuck in. They look awesome. Yeah, it did. It was. I preferred it to the NXT match, just in what I like watching. They had more of a match that I like, but it didn't really. It didn't elevate anywhere higher than that. And I think there's another match that we watched that I think I'm going to have slightly ahead of it. I don't think y'all are going to agree with me on it. It just did more of what I liked. But yeah, this was still this was very good. I liked it a lot.
Indeed. I'm intrigued where you lads come in on this one. So, Buster, what did you think of this?
I like the psychology of the match a lot. It's very sound and traditional. Novi, Miyu's performance really reminds me of her performance in Dallas versus Shoko.
Yes.
But she plays the heel, but it's not.
But the crowd still cheers her.
It's kind of a middle point. She's just more like aggressive and nasty about everything. overall, I mean, I like the match. They do a spot where Endo is sitting on the top turnbuckle and Miyu's holding onto the ropes, and they have like a test of strength where like Endo pushes down on Miyu. I thought that was really cool, like unique way to do that kind of thing. Some of the offense is a little here and there, especially from Arisu Endo. The finishing stretch is good, not great, but I do appreciate that it wasn't like a prolonged, like this is the climax thing. It was pretty cut and dry, but it was good. I agree with Caden in the fact that I didn't come away from it like remembering a whole bunch. Mainly just Miu's performance, because that aspect of her game really fascinates me. The Shoko match in Dallas is fucking fantastic, and it like really woke me up to this idea of like, what could that version of her really look like? I don't know if she's tapped into it more, either before this match or after this match, but I am intrigued going forward.
Indeed, I remember you guys were very excited after that show. You loved that show, right? So
That show's awesome, man.
good stuff. Novi, where did you stand on this one?
I'm a big fan of Miu, and I'm also more friendly to TJPW as a promotion. I just don't really like mind the aesthetics of the matches kind of thing. I know some people struggle with that, but I never really have. And I also really like Daisy Monkey, so I was really excited to see Endo and a main event spot here, like a pretty big spot. It's Princess Cup, it's a big deal.
She's been getting like a decent push, dude. Like she hasn't won anything big, but
it's cool to see her like get a little shove.
Her position on the card is rising.
Yeah. But yeah, I did struggle with the kind of the same things that you two were mentioning. It's just like I couldn't lock into this, to be honest with you. I'm sick and tired of the Joshi like match layout. I can't do it anymore.
Oh
Wow.
shit.
I'm sorry. I can't do it anymore. Like I love the performances of both of them, but like just the way that it's paced, just the way that it's escalated and the way that it gets to where it gets to. I struggle with that a lot. I'll still like enjoy the matches. I see this as a good match. It's just I could not lock into it. It's just not something that my brain is willing to activate on anymore. I don't know why. It's just I guess I'm just fried. But there's another match that I watched too, a part of this, that I really liked. So I think there's a reason for it. I'll get to it later. But yeah, it's a great performance from both involved. I love Miu. I love to watch her wrestle. The layout, it's the pacing. I struggle, sadly.
So I just don't. I think we agree, but I don't think this match is an example of it. I don't know. I just didn't think this had those tendencies.
Maybe it was just
I think
me.
the match
I'm really
more was more guilty of that, to be honest.
I
We'll get into
disagree.
it. So, psychologically, this match has so many great ingredients. So, like, power versus speed. There's this sense that Endo feels like she can kind of take Miu deep and wear her out and drain her of that kind of superpower she has, right? Her thing, for those of you who haven't seen Miu Watanabe, her thing is she has like freakish strength.
Yeah.
And the idea of the match is that Endo's quicker. She has to stick and move, and then she has to drain and sap that energy. And that is a great idea for a match. And this is where I disagree with Novi. I actually thought the pace of this was refreshing in the sense that to me it was like a traditional main event. They took their time early. They established the headlock. They traded headlock takeovers. They went hold for hold for a bit. Endo flirted with working with over the leg. They kind of established that sometimes Miu will just power away out of holds that she has no sort of answer to. And there was a lot of really, really positive elements. Miu Watanabe is just a superstar, dude. I've been on this train for a bit, and like
25 years old, by the way.
she's so expressive and she has so much charisma. I just think she's like a license to print money.
Yeah.
The issue with this match, and before I go any further, I'm not an expert on this scene. I don't know how many times I've seen Endo wrestle. I probably have reviewed Endo matches and just not, like, I'm not remembering it.
Yeah.
I have no idea what her stature in the game is or any of that stuff. So, like, But I thought her work in this was pretty loose, to be honest. And
Yeah, it is.
as a result of that, it was much harder to pull off the speed versus power thing when her stuff looked like, so at times it looks like Miu shouldn't sell for.
Yeah.
Like, Miyu's not, she's not like a giant or anything. But her stuff was really loose in this, dude. Like, it almost felt like she was trying so hard to be quick that, like, she was kind of going too far in that direction, you know? And as a result of that, I kind of thought the match lacked the drama and the bite that you were looking for a big match. It's a shame because I think the outline of this was really, really fucking enticing. And I do think it's a good match. I like the match. Some of the stuff Miyu does is just fucking insane. The swing she does where she hooks her by the head and swings her. I mean, incredible spot. There's a lot of good here, but it didn't quite get where I think it could have. And I don't think... I've not seen a lot of Endo, so I can't speak on it, but I just went in this particular match. I don't know if she quite matched what the match needed. You know, it's very...
She looked a little... I haven't watched in a little bit. Of course not, but like when I did watch regularly, like I would tune into Daisy Monkey matches. This didn't seem like that Endo. It seemed like she was kind of like... struggling to fit the moment in some ways, but that's like fair. I don't know if she's been in many of these moments, you know, in singles.
Right. And I don't know. I mean, shit happens. Like, I'm not an expert on the scene. What I saw in this match, it was a good match that just could have been better, I think, and psychologically was really impressive, but I think mechanically had a little bit of work to do. So it happens, but I think that's the only match other than the AEW one that all four of us have seen. So you saw some differing opinions there, folks. Intrigued, I said earlier, the matches that you guys have seen, please clue us in as we go. In the meantime, Yuma has been a member for 11 months. He says, I don't watch wrestling, but I do appreciate when people talk about it. Thank you, Yuma, I believe.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah. Happy birthday. I hope your birthday bash goes better than mine. So, thank you very much, Yuma, for the support. Up next. What was that?
Sorry.
Oh god, it was you. Okay.
He belched.
Sorry, I didn't.
I
That
don't
was
know what
genuine.
it was.
Like
I thought it was like a
it
explosion
came
or
up,
something.
brother.
So there, I looked. I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
Sorry.
CMLL, August 8th. Blue Panther, Ultimo Guerrero. This one got some hype, right? Two legends. Blue Panther in his mid-60s. This was for the MLW National Openweight title. Of course it was. Buster, you and I had a look at this one. And before I even pitch it to you, I gotta say, I'm intrigued where you stand because I thought this was fucking awesome. Did you agree, Buster? Tell me.
Yes, I did. I very much did. First note, Blue Panther drip god. Holy shit. Comes out in the blue coat with his son. Beast. This match is so fucking wrestling. Like from the jump start with Guerrero where he's pulling on the title and he falls, so out of embarrassment he just jump starts and he attacks Blue Panther. You know, it's fucking awesome. The crowd and their willingness to just be like 100% buy in on the dynamic between these two adds so much to the match. It's basically like a Panther fucking like showcase. He takes basically the entire match because Guerrero eventually gets the roll-up pin. I know, like we always say it when it comes to Panther, but how the fuck is he still able to do this? Is beyond me. I have no idea. He's like so fluid in everything that he does. He does like the spinning Rana off of Ultimate Guerrero's shoulders. I know he does that pretty, not like super consistently, but pretty consistently. It'll never not be crazy that he does though. I had a real how can you not be romantic about this shit moment when Blue Panther Jr. held his dad's hands as he was climbing up the top rope to the dive to the outside on Guerrero. That moment is so specific to wrestling. That's like, and honestly specific to Lucha in a lot of ways, nowadays at least. I thought this was like fantastic, a beautiful wrestling match, front to back.
I agree. I thought this was genuinely great in ways far more legitimate than just merely like novelty or nostalgia.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a ton of nostalgia.
I don't either.
I definitely sense the novelty of it,
Right.
but I think it's greater than that. And as you said, hilariously, it is indeed a Blue Panther showcase or like sort of greatest hits rendition. And he seems just thrilled to the chance to play his tunes here. And they do some crazy shit. And I don't mean like crazy shit in the name of, you know, for a 65-year-old, this is crazy. Like stuff that is genuinely like, holy shit.
Bro,
you know?
that dive to the outside is wild.
Yeah, they do a fucking suplex on the floor. There's that incredible spot which someone on US TV should steal, where Panther throws a closed fist.
Oh,
the referee
yes.
grabs his arm so he doesn't throw another one. But it's apparent to the viewer that he wasn't like trying to cheat. It was like he was throwing strikes and they kind of skewed, right? Was the idea. And the referee grabs Panther's arm and he turns to the referee. And as he does, Guerrero like fucking does this really gnarly like kicked stomp to the back of the leg. And it's so gross because it isn't like a big cartoon chop block. He just fucking stomps on his like Achilles, dude. It's grand. And Blue Panther like collapses, you know. It's yeah, that was sick. I loved that. Panther's babyface offense and babyface feel are like incredible in this match, dude.
It's fantastic, but it'll never not make me laugh whenever like he'll hit a big move and then he'll turn to the crowd and just start fucking stomping.
Yeah, man.
So
They
sick,
work the
bro.
people. Like we say it every time. I'm not a big lucha guy or anything, but the guys are so fucking comfortable just working to the house.
Yeah, bro.
Guys like this, especially, they're masters of it. Obviously, that's their whole game beyond the physical stuff, which is remarkable. The referee element obviously is a thread, and that's a thing in Lucha Libre. Obviously, the referees are used and presented differently, generally speaking. The runner of the middle you mentioned, which is probably the single highlight.
Yeah.
But, you know, that dive, the Chrissy Cage fucking dive is not far behind. The match is genuinely great. I actually think if you were someone who's interested in, like, the wider wrestling world or international wrestling, I actually think this is, like, a must-see match, to be honest.
It's my favorite match that we watch. Or I watch.
Yeah, it's an absolute blast. The finish is probably a little more abrupt than you'd like, but it also does kind of work because of what you described, Buster.
Yeah,
like,
it works because like Panther takes the whole match, and because the crowd is so willing to like buy in on it, Panther takes the whole match, and then Guerrero just gets the roll up, and it's like the reaction you would hope for.
Yeah,
it's kind of surprised at first, but then it comes like the boos start coming in.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. It's just, I guess it's so different to the rhythm we're used to now that it threw me off. Maybe, yeah. It was awesome. I was actually surprised you guys, Novi and Caden. I'm not knocking you. I'm surprised you didn't dive head first in this because Buster and I think were like, oh yes, finally we can.
I was very excited about that.
I recommend it when you get some time.
I was tempted, but I was like, I'm gonna do these 7. I'm gonna leave with these 3, and if like anyone really inspires me, now I'm going to because you guys think of it so highly.
It's really not that long.
Fucking awesome. Yes, it's like it's kind of a sprint, really, which is hilarious considering.
It's like 13 minutes.
This was the one where like if I was gonna watch any other matches, this would have been the one I would have seen. I wanted to hear from y'all first about what you thought, and I was like, okay, I can go check it out.
Nice guy. All right. Let's head to Great Britain.
Oh, baby.
Rule Britannia, if you will.
Buster just turned his camera off.
So fuck that Britain talk, dude.
Not doing it.
Food.
So
this is the only match I like genuinely took like actual notes on. So
what,
thanks, bro? Thanks for being a professional.
I took notes, but this was the only one where I took like extensive.
Took fake notes all the other ones.
This fucking guy. We told you you'd be in full Caden Lee mode tonight. We told you this.
We warned you, even.
I'm not good at taking notes while watching wrestling.
August 22nd, 2025. August 22nd. RevPro, my home promotion. Their anniversary show. Crystal Palace, I believe this was.
Yep.
Emersyn Jayne.
The badass.
Mercedes Mone, the CEO, if you will.
And I will.
And the latest, well, not the latest, but at that time, the latest, I think it's probably been 3 or 4 since then, but Mercedes kind of world tour, right? It's like, because there's like 2 sides to Mercedes' career right now. She's a heel in AEW, and then she's like a touring sort of, almost like wrestling globetrotter, where she just sort of, the crowds have so much respect and reverence for her, and the fact that she's there stuns crowds so much, I think, that she kind of has to be a babyface, which I think makes these matches more complicated, but she loves pro wrestling, and it's very apparent she takes this shit really seriously, dude. She doesn't half-ass these appearances. Like, if you book Mercedes, she gives you a Mercedes match, and they put in some time here, I think just about or around 20 minutes. So, yeah, very, very intrigued to see where you guys are on this. Anwar said, sometimes shaving sets you up for failure. No shade. Kate?
Who shaved? Was it Caden?
Did
I don't
Caden
think
have a beard the
I
last time he was here?
shaved.
He definitely didn't have a beard though. He's not. A
It
beard
wasn't
guy.
that bad, no.
He's not a
But I
beard
did,
guy.
but it wasn't like
It's not part of our faction.
I did shave today.
He's not part of our faction. Alright. I don't know. I just saw it and went, was that a Caden burial? Anyway, hope it was. So, Nova, did you like this match?
Kinda. I like watching Mercedes Mone wrestle. Not surprising to anyone. I think she's very good at wrestling. I think her matches are usually quite good. I didn't dislike Emersyn Jayne. Not my favorite in the world. But I see why so many people do fall in love with her offense. It's very like she combines the agility with the power moves in a very, just blunt way, which I appreciated. Yeah, they clearly found their chemistry as the match went on. I thought it got better and better, really. I think they kind of did struggle a little bit as they got going to get with the people and stuff like that. And maybe that right there is the big thing, because RevPro production makes me want to do bad things. God bless that we're seeing these matches and things of that nature, but for the love of God, please turn up the crowd mics. Please turn up the crowd mics. I can't hear the people, but I can hear commentary clearly. Please turn up the crowd mics, because I could tell it was hot in this building. We got the report from Chuck way back when that this match rocked. I know it was hot, but the sound really bad. Yeah, very, very standard Mercedes Mone match, which equals a good match. Just let's turn the mics up, brothers. Let's turn the mics up. Welcome back, Joe.
Caden Lee,
Yeah.
you like this match a lot, right?
Yeah, I really liked this match. This
Take
was
it
my
away,
favorite
Caden Lee.
out of what we watched. I did. They had an insane pace to start. These two, so they started just like kind of just traded moves very early. And I thought that at some point this was going to let up. And I think the main reason I thought this is because I was watching it on a YouTube video. So I knew kind of like how long it was to an extent. Yeah, someone posted it on YouTube.
Very choppy on YouTube.
You didn't sign up for RevPro on demand?
I actually am part of RevPro. I am signed up for RevPro on demand. I just didn't know my login. So I went to YouTube.
Continue.
Also, the website's it's very slow. And
Hey,
YouTube.
Continue.
That's interesting.
Nobi kind of pointed it out a little bit. It was rough at the start, and there are some moments later on too where there's a Mercedes specifically does something in the last maybe 5 minutes of the match where she does like some sort of like looked like to be a pinning combination, and then I think someone missed somewhere and just nothing happened, and so they just transitioned into a different move. But it's fine. Those things happen. But there were a few very early on, and they yes, they make the mistake. They do recover very well and just make it look like, oh, they're just wrestling. Yeah. I don't know. I've been signed up for it for 2 years, and I keep forgetting to cancel it.
2 years.
You can't log in.
Yeah.
You've forgotten your password, so you can't really cancel it.
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
so-
no.
And now, really, there's no reason to cancel it. Really?
No.
Yeah, every once in a while, I'll be like, oh, I want to watch this RevPro show, so I can pull it up and just watch it live. I don't have to worry about subscribing to anything. Emersyn does a Meteora at one point from the back that is insane. Mercedes just like takes insane whiplash down to the mat, and yeah, it was fucking nasty. They my notes are on my phone, so I'm trying to like read them a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm tired. Leave me alone, Novi. Fuck off.
What?
Yeah, they kind of just continuously go at it. There's a sunset flip into the middle turnbuckle that Mercedes does onto Emersyn Jayne that I also thought was very nasty. Yeah, a good bump. Emersyn Jayne, it popped me. She did the sliding German suplex that Shinsuke Nakamura was doing very consistently in that 2018-2019 heel run on SmackDown. And I clapped and I pointed at the TV and said, I've seen that move before.
I said, I clapped and I said, good bump.
Good bump. Yeah, I thought everything here flowed in what I like in professional wrestling. And for a lack of a better term, they kind of did a moves match. And it wasn't as much of like whenever we think about current modern moves matches, and you think of like the Will Ospreay and Takeshita, that's like the big one from Revolution last year. You think of like doing a few just very explosive sequences. And so it wasn't necessarily that, but there wasn't any sustained heat on anybody. It was very much like, okay, I'm doing 2 or 3 moves, and then I'm going to sell it I'm going to sell for you while you do your moves. And then we're just going to kind of go back and forth until we get to the finish. And I liked that. I thought it was a good way for me to see who Emersyn Jayne is as a wrestler. I think Mercedes is fantastic. And this current version of her, I just like watching her wrestle. So because of that, I was very much okay with this. It isn't anything I want consistently. It's not anything I would particularly, I don't think I would even love it if it was on an AEW Dynamite, but just the setting of it, knowing that this is in RevPro, the Crystal Palace setting, it's an indie match. There's not much stakes really here. Like, yes, it's for the Discovery and the British Women's Championship. So there's 2 titles on the line, but realistically, there's not much stakes there.
Right, because Emersyn Jayne obviously is not beating Mercedes, right? So it's kind of an exhibition.
Yeah, you know what this is. Yeah, it's an exhibition. It's a showcase for both women. And Mercedes has done these showcase matches recently in AEW. Like, I think back to the Forbidden Door match where, which was like, I think 2 days after this, where she gave a lot to the other 3 women in the match. She got a lot in here too. They both, it was 20, I think it was like 19 minutes something. And I would say if you're playing a sports game, you're playing like a Madden, you pull up and it says, oh, this team had 15 minutes of possession. This team had 15, like it would be exactly even. They had the exact same amount of possession throughout this entire match. And I fucked with it.
Madden.
Said 2K.
Wow.
Awesome.
All right. Yeah, I like this match. I definitely agree with you, Caden, that there's a novelty to Mercedes in this setting that probably isn't there when she's just like on Dynamite. Like, and I know she's done a few of these shows now, but it's still pretty cool, right? Like the way the crowd reacts to her in this, this environment is very, very neat. Mercedes works very, very hard. She gave Emersyn Jayne a lot. Emersyn Jayne, unless I'm mistaken, is not like a prospect. Caden,
she's 32.
Yeah, she's like been wrestling for a bit, and I want to say she's put some years in.
Definitely has. Yeah, she's been a name on the scene for a minute. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
13 years. Trained by Joe Hendry.
Yeah, that's right. Because that makes sense. Okay, so
don't say his name, bro.
So, nonetheless, the reason I think they leaned on back and forth is because the babyface heel dynamic is kind of like, it's tricky in that Mercedes, her shtick is that of a heel, but she's a legend. And so it's like, you kind of have to just sort of play it down the middle because people are going to cheer her, but she also is going to do things that make her a heel. It's not a natural dynamic, really. I thought that mechanically and physically, Emersyn Jayne was up to the task as in terms of like her offense definitely belonged, and I thought her work was really good. I just don't really know. Like, I saw her live last night, I don't know, like if I just like get Emersyn Jayne. Like, I don't know who Emersyn Jayne is as a wrestler, I guess, and that to me is really important because it's cool that she executes her stuff well, and she really does execute well. And I'm not like trying to downplay that is important, but like I didn't get a lot of personality from her work.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't really make an impression on me as to who Emersyn Jayne is. I liked watching her stuff, and it looked even better opposite Mercedes, who is, you know, an insane bumper. But I saw her live last night, and I don't really get the presentation. Like,
Yeah.
I think her thing is she's the badass, and like I don't really.
That doesn't translate for me. I'm gonna co-sign it because, you know, I think maybe some people will read that as like, I don't know, like a personal thing. I think it is just kind of an issue, to be honest. Like, I watch her wrestle and she's the badass, but like, what exactly does that mean?
Does she project that to you? Like,
she doesn't project anything to me, unfortunately.
She doesn't really emote big, does she?
No, she doesn't. She doesn't have much like physical chemistry, and that's okay. Charisma, yeah, that's okay.
Live show charisma,
but you kind of have to like you have to make up for that a little bit, and I don't think she makes up for that enough. Where it's like not a big deal, you know. You have to work really hard. You have to like work like Roderick Strong, you know. But like even he has a level of it. But like
for Roderick Strong, like he who he is as a wrestler is very defined. Like even though he's just like, you know, he's not a big promo. Like I don't know what type of like if I just ask you to describe Emersyn Jayne as a wrestler, what would be your description?
Yeah, I don't know.
And
I just
Tatum, what would you say? You were a bigger fan.
I mean, she's the badass, Joe.
Yeah,
no, realistically, no. Like, I get what y'all are saying. I don't know if this if it makes sense either, but what I also thought was like the gear was where I did not like her gear.
No, it's like,
and I don't think it went well with her character. That was my biggest one, where I was like, it's fine if you want. Like, I think that's a big one where like if you just get some better gear. If the gear didn't look badass,
it doesn't add. The package doesn't add up.
Yeah,
like it's like it feels the odds of it. Like some of the stuff she doesn't match the way she's being presented. Her gear doesn't match. Now again, Emersyn Jayne, her work is really good. A lot of these things are just growing to fixable. I'm not sure she's going to have a ton of presence, but like, I think the presentation part of it's more important. That's just my feeling on it, and I think the lads are kind of in the similar boat. But like. The match was good. Mercedes obviously is great. I just, if I was comparing her to someone like Kanji, who is on our scene, like, Kanji has such a more defined shtick, and like her thing is so much more identifiable. That's the end. They're going to work with each other on RevPro, it seems like, so they did an angle on last night's show. So, hopefully, you know, things will change. I'm really glad that she got this opportunity to wrestle Mercedes, and I think she did a good job. People loved the match. And it was a good match. I want to be clear. She didn't like foul or anything or flop.
Good performance.
It was a good match. It didn't leave an impression on me the way I hoped it would, I guess. But
when you just jump in like this, it's a little tough in that sense.
She didn't like pop in that way of like, holy shit, I need to see more Emersyn Jayne. To me. She did for others, but not to me. But anyway, enough about my home promotion. Thank you, Revolution Pro. Okay. All right. Up next, let's stick with Novi and Caden while Buster enjoys his supper.
Goddamn, Salisbury steak TV dinner, brother.
Rina and Natsupoi is from August 20th. Stardom's 5-star Grand Prix. I think this was the quarterfinal.
Yes, it was.
Very much all action. I think it clocked in around 13 minutes or so, and a whole lot of offense on display. Rina is 18 years old, which is insane. There is some wild work on display in this one. Novi, Stardom, you like this one quite a bit. Take it away.
I like this one quite a bit. Yes, I liked it more than Mew and Endo. I just respected the effort that was going into this. Like 14 minutes, all action. They were clearly giving it their all. It felt like I've not seen Rina before, but I've heard the way people talk about her. So I was really excited to finally get a look at like what this 18-year-old like phenom is. and like exactly what people were talking about. I got it immediately. Just she looks cool as fuck. Her offense is sick as hell. Natsupoi, like, to her credit, I really like Natsupoi. But she just made Rina look great. Like that was this match. That was the goal. And I'm like, I'm a big fan of the younger like wrestlers. I like to see them go in there and prove it. I like to see them try. I like to see them wrestle each other. That's kind of my thing. So like that also helped me really lock in on this. The bumping, like I said, was incredible. There's these like double knees that she does to the gut, Rina, that always look good, and they look like they fucking hurt too. There's a sequence where they start throwing hands center ring, and they do a couple of the 1 count falls. You know, it is what it is. But they start throwing hands, and that's dope. And I like looking at these two women beat the shit out of each other. I think it's awesome. It's inspiring in some ways when I see a match like this in a quarterfinal setting. I really felt strongly about it. And I think my favorite part of the match, and I get it, maybe people struggle with it, those late in the game near falls, those were really, really well done. There was like a couple of pin transitions that were like inches, and they were really smooth. It felt like everything flowed together really well. Yeah, Rina holding on to get it done, like a shock winner. Like, wow, that's awesome that they're making this young wrestler a star too in the course of this tournament. So yeah, I really liked it. I had a lot of fun with it. Shout out to Rina. I get it.
Yeah, she's very, very exciting. Absolutely, I agree with you completely. I like this a lot too. Caden Lee, did you like this a lot?
Yeah, I liked it. I don't think I'm as high on it as Novi is, but I thought this was good, and it was very different than the other matches that out of what I watched, it was very different than all of those, which was a nice refresher. I kind of like that everything I watched was a little different than everything, but this one specifically stood out with the way that they just went ham.
Yeah,
immediately out the gate. And for the 14-15 minutes that they worked, they did not let up at all. Rina, as Novi said, very good. I don't think I've seen much of Natsupoi. Like I've seen clips, and I've heard a lot of great things about her. It probably was my first time watching a full match, and so yeah, it was nice to be able to watch these two wrestle in this type of match. And I thought the finisher that Rina did was brutal. That was one of my bigger takeaways from her, is that thing, whatever the fuck she was doing, I don't even know what it was called. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, sweet. So this actually is, to what Novi was saying earlier, this is actually the type of match that I do struggle with in the Joshi scene, where like it's go, 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 and it's just like, it's a lot offensively. And I like watching that for a bit, but it doesn't really stick a lot of time for me because it's just so much offense. And I think a lot of the time the registering is minimal. You know, it's just like boom, 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 pace. But they're kind of, I guess you describe it as the high speed sort of you know, part of their scene. But while I think this was guilty of that, everything they did here looked incredible, which takes you a long way to overcoming that, which is why I still like the match a lot. The reason I really like the match is because in addition to the way that the actual work itself looked, this dynamic was fucking cool and had a lot of personality and a lot of color. And I'm not, you know, just for an example, we were just talking about Mercedes and Emersyn Jayne. By contrast, how defined are these two in terms of like they immediately? I mean, I've seen Natsupoi before, but they immediately make an impression as to the type of wrestler they are, the type of presentation they have, what they're trying to present themselves. You know, what they're trying to project to the people. Mm-hmm. I thought this was a match that honestly was mostly go, go, go offense moves, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that, especially at 13 minutes, and sometimes that's the right thing to do. The reason I thought this stuck more than that is because of how much color they both added to that outline. Both of them, but especially Rina, who really, to be honest, wrestled with all of the sort of presence of a veteran, right? And I'm sure she has wrestled a hilarious amount of years considering her age, but I don't want to get too far into that. So I'll just say, for an 18-year-old, she wrestled this like she had had so much big show experience and was just so comfortable in this environment. So, match was really, really good. Yes, the work was insane. That crazy fucking hair whip apron bump they did.
Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah, and like there's a little bit of the thing they do that kind of is a little an attempt at a little depth to it is when Rina like targets the arm right for a bit, but generally it's a fireworks show, you know.
Yeah.
And all I ever say is if it's going to be a fireworks show, while that is not my like go-to, make sure the fireworks are pretty, and the fireworks were fucking. They were incredible to look at, right? Everything looked great. Everything was sharp. But more than anything, it wasn't just, you know, go, go, go in terms of the offense being executed perfectly. It actually had a lot of personality just in the way that these two wrestle. They're very expressive.
Yep.
They have a shtick. They have a thing. Rina in particular does, right? Like, holy shit, she's like a full act. Yeah.
It was crazy. It was immediately clear. Off rip, like the opening exchange, you were like, I know exactly who these people are.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning experience. Rina does have 6 years of in-ring experience. But she is a main event star. Please do not be surprised when she's the one at the top of this promotion. Like it's clear. I really like, I walked away. That was my whole takeaway. I get what you guys are talking about. I understand.
And this was, I believe this was an upset in canon. Yeah.
It's Natsupoi, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was really good. It was really good. Very, very good. You know what else was really good, Novi?
Tell me, Joe.
TNA Emergence.
Oh, yeah.
August 15th. Cedric Alexander. Leon Slater. More Great Britain talk on the program. So this show looked kind of crazy because I think this was the show where they had a lot of technical difficulties, I want to say, and it like looked a bit like the camera had broken from the hard cam. It was a little bit weird, but to be honest, I think Novi and I are on a similar pages. I actually was kind of stunned at how good this match was. I thought this match was legitimately like really, really good, borderline great even, maybe even, I don't know. Novi, what did you make of our X Division title match from TNA Emergence?
I'm not gonna go borderline great. I'm saying it's great. It's my favorite match I watched on this. I watched 7 of these. This is my favorite. I've gotten the chance to see Cedric Alexander since he's come back to the Indies. His debut was at a show that I was at for DPW, and he has looked good. I think he has like really been giving it his all. He's been trying really hard. It's noticeable. But there was something about the way he was working here. He was fucking on one. It was clear he thought pretty highly of Leon because the way he was bumping was like absurd. There's an opening exchange where Leon is targeting the leg and he's like hopping on one leg to get to the ropes, which that immediately put me in the frame of mind of like, this could be something special. The way that these guys are clearly understanding the dynamic at play here. And so I do want to give love to Cedric, but I think everyone who watches this is going to walk away saying Leon Slater is maybe the best young wrestler in the world at the current moment. He is got at all, man. Like there's not a single part of his game I walked away from this saying like he needs to get better at this. I think he's great at the sell. Throughout the course of this match, he stuck with his back, which was getting worked over obviously for the for Cedric's finisher. And he just kept grabbing at it. He kept influencing his offense. Like there was one, he hit the ropes and he kind of buckled on him a little bit. Even in the late stage where he's getting up for his high fly offense, it was still like he was grabbing at the back. He was slow to get to the pinfall. It was wild. And his offense too, not just the high fly offense, his just stand up offense is like, holy shit. Cause he throws his body into everything. Like there's not one piece of his offense that I thought that he didn't give everything to. And it just makes for some of these matches. You just get totally sucked in on, really. To use a crazy frame there. You do. It's true.
I was getting sucked in on.
It sucks you in is what I'm trying to say.
I got you.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty standard thing, guys. But you know.
Yeah,
I mean.
that one's fun. Don't worry about getting over there.
Yeah, he's just doing his thing. Yeah, I think Leon is the best out there, man. He's such an incredible talent. We talk about it all the time. But this match is like the clearest I've ever seen it. It's just he'll be a main eventer one day if he keeps it up, you know.
Yeah, the match is awesome. What I love about this match and what I would point to as saying that is, I think, to be honest, unfortunately very uncommon. You can do an action match and be an opener, be a hot opener without like completely sacrificing selling and psychology. This match actually has a bunch of different ideas and it still gives you a ton of excitement. It still gets people on their feet. It still rocks the house. So, Novi mentioned the kind of outline. So, Cedric works Leon's back because that's his thing, right? The lumbar check. And Leon, who is very underestimated in terms of what he can do outside of the high flying, he works Cedric's leg, injuries, all that good stuff, and Cedric, as the older fella, is like hobbled for some of the match. So you immediately have like it's a body part deal, right? But in addition to that, you have this dynamic of, and this is something that stood out to me when Cedric was working in NXT, and I saw him wrestle. I wish I could remember who he was wrestling. He was wrestling a young fella in NXT, and I watched the match. And what stood out to me was he was willing to play veteran and willing to be the slower guy and the older guy, rather than spending the entire match like desperate to convince you that I can still go, bro. You know, like, and kind of instead, he actually leaned further in the other direction. He did a great job of that in this match. Coming out the gate, there's a deal where Cedric almost tries to like old man Slater, you know, to use a boxing term, and he sort of tries to pull a little veteran trick or two on him because Leon's so young. And in response, Leon Slater very defiantly disrespects Cedric and hits him with a "you can't guard me" deal. And the crowd kind of goes, "Oh shit!" Like, and the idea is, it's a babyface match, but Cedric knows if he's going to beat Leon, he has to kind of pull a trick or two. He ain't going to be he's not a better athlete than him at this point. Or he's going to have to work the back, which obviously we see he takes over on the apron. Cedric is selling while in control. He's hobbling on that bad leg. The crowd is not electric for this early, but they're clearly following, and by the end, they really, really like the match.
Get with it.
As Nobi said, Leon adjusts his offense accordingly, which is huge because it actually emphasizes beyond just going, "Oh, my back," and then doing, you know, he actually changes some of his stuff, and some of the stuff he does doesn't work. Like he does a springboard back elbow early in the match, he goes to it again later, and he can't do it. He kind of just folds under the pressure of it. Yeah. Some of Cedric's bumping, Novi noted. And once they get to the final few minutes, they go into the back and forth, and that stuff rocks, dude. Like, Cedric can still do that stuff.
Yeah.
Leon's dive, obviously, the Montez fall over the buckle, you know, over the post dive, is gorgeous. But there's so much good in here. I just think matches like this are proof that you can do a lot of flashy offense without it being like just a blur of stuff, which a blur of stuff can be fine. But this had a lot of different ingredients in it to accompany the offense. So I love this match. I agree with Novi. This is one of the best matches on the night. It wasn't my number one. We'll get to that in a second. But I thought this match was I probably would say it was great. Yeah, I thought this was terrific. So
yeah,
this is worth watching. I'd imagine a lot of you guys didn't see this.
It's on YouTube.
Really good match. Yeah. Not long either, Novi, right?
No, it's like 13, 14 minutes. Yeah, Cedric is a guy. I know a lot of people were like questioning what he'd look like coming out of the WWE because like it is physically it was different, and I think in the WWE he's trying to have those like he's trying to be what he was. And on the Indies, like I've seen him a couple times, like I said, DPW, he doesn't try to do that at all.
He just wasn't wrestling, dude. I mean, it's just it was
I mean,
time for him to leave. It's just time for him to leave straight up.
He's one of the like premier vets going around the scene right now. Like if he's having a match with like a young wrestler you believe in, please go watch it. It's likely pretty good. Yeah,
I think he's a good get for TNA. I think in an ideal world, this would be for something that isn't... I mean, the X Division title means a lot, and I know it matters to Leon, but like... I don't know, man. Like, maybe they could just rest for the world title rather than having an NXT guy hold the belt. I don't know. Whatever. I'm sure they'll get to it, Leon, because I think they know what they have in him, but yeah.
Maybe they won't.
I think they will because, well, unless obviously there's other factors, but with
Yeah.
Cedric, I do think, personally, Cedric is not a superstar or anything. I probably would have tried to have given him something more senior than X Division title match, opening match, putting over Leon Slater within 2 months of getting there. Like, I'm not saying you need to put the world title on him, but you can always get to this X Division stuff, like it's...
Yeah.
That's the only thing. That's not a negative of Cedric. Sometimes I think they, we'll move on to this, but sometimes TNA just concede on like trying to convince you a guy's more important than they actually are, and just sort of go, yeah, he's exactly what you thought he'd be. Actually, here he is. Just put him in. It's like you could try, but whatever. Anyway, final match of the night. Let's go to Philly, August 27th, AEW Dynamite. All of us watched this. Familiar pairing, of course. They've since rematched on Collision. Daniel Garcia, Jon Moxley. This has obviously got a very different context now.
Yeah.
Because young Dan is dressed like he's in gym class on the telly in the Death Riders.
Young Lion.
And that will be what it will be. We'll see. But this match was very, very good and kind of, launched this whole thing, or rebooted this whole thing, I should say. Or at least ramped it up. Lots to talk about here, Buster. Daniel Garcia, Jon Moxley. What did you think?
So, I was under the impression that this was the Collision match. So,
Oh.
All right. Well, maybe...
I also did not write... I didn't do any fucking notes for this. I just kind of said that I watched it because I liked the match a lot. The Collision one. So that was a good match, man. They were both pretty good. I'll just say that they were both pretty fucking good. I wish that the finish of the second match wasn't nearly identical to the first one, but things happen.
That fucking rules.
Hayden Lee.
Awesome.
Yeah. We watched this as a family in the Discord, right?
We did.
Yes.
Okay, making sure. So I didn't remember anything about this match, so I went back and I rewatched it.
Excellent.
Very good.
I thought this was very good. I did not see the second match, so I did not, because y'all watched it on Collision when I wasn't there. So yeah, I haven't even seen that one. So just judging it off of the match from 3 weeks ago, Danny has this so much has changed since then. So, but Danny wrestles with a pace in this, not a pace, but like an aggression.
Intensity.
An intensity, yes. Thank you, Joe. That I hadn't seen from him since the Maxwell Jacob Friedman match. And it was refreshing. That was my biggest problem with him during his TNT title run was it just he felt very complacent. And I think part of that was the booking and part of that was his own. He wasn't doing anything interesting. He was just wrestling like he was there just because it was a job and he had to defend his title. But I never felt like he wanted that belt more than anything. And even after that, in his matches, since he lost, when he lost to Adam Cole, I think it was at Dynasty, that was never there in his matches to me. I never felt like he wanted to get back to being a great wrestler, being someone who was holding a championship, being one of the killers. And I thought this match specifically was the first time that I had seen that again from him since that MJF match. He looked like he wanted to beat Moxley. And Mox does a great job in this as well as presenting DG as someone who could genuinely beat him. He goes to the outside and escapes, and he does some cowering a little bit, even have like the way he gets the win of having to go to the roll up because he doesn't think he can because he goes to that instead of trying to actually beat him. It is a little cowardice, and it puts over DG in a very good way as well. I loved this. I loved how both of these men worked. I think that they were at the top of their powers in this. But Moxley, since losing his title, and even before that, he was finding his groove a little bit in around like April and May, like after the Swerve match. I think the Swerve match really was like a turning point for him. But this match was like peak of what you want from a heel Jon Moxley, where he does have a little bit still of like, there's some elements of the Death Riders, the first 6 months of the Death Rider still in there, but he's wrestling like himself again. And when you add that with Daniel wrestling the best he can as a babyface with that aggression, with that intensity, you get something like this. And you also add in the 2300 atmosphere too, which I didn't love. I didn't love it for the 3 weeks they were there, but for this match specifically, I think it works really well and adds something different. The one spot that did stand out to me was DG, and I remember during the Discord, it's one thing I remember from the match, Mox goes to hit a paradigm shift onto Daniel Garcia, and Daniel Garcia holds on to the rope and avoids it, and that was really fucking awesome. It was just like one of those things where I hadn't been seeing that enough from DG of like doing little things that show how smart he is as a wrestler. And I really appreciated that spot.
So, I really like this match. But I think Dan Garcia he got way too much shit, dude, when he had that lull. Like, Daniel Garcia basically just wrestles to the role he's given. And, like, you can say he's wrong for doing that, but that's what you're actually supposed to do. It's just no one else does it anymore. Like, he was, as TNC champion, and I'm not saying you're wrong about the matches, Caden, because the matches were dull. Mm-hmm. But, like, who did he wrestle in that run where it was like, man, he should have had a great match with that guy? And it's like, it sucked. Like, his matchmaking was fucking insane in that run, you know?
Awful.
I agree to an extent. The one thing where I push back a little bit is I think he could have had some aggression in the C2, especially with how his 2023 C2 is, where he only got the one win against Brody. It would have been cool to see some sort of intensity where he's like, I'm not letting this shit happen again. I'm the TNT champ now. This isn't happening.
Here's your problem, Caden. He's wrestling good guys the entire time. The one match he had, notably had a match with a heel, was the Kyle Fletcher match, and that was the best match that he had in the C2. When you give Danny a bunch of good guys to wrestle, he's just going to wrestle like a good guy.
The Shelton match was good.
The Shelton match also was good, yes, and a heel. Forgot that one. But, like, you think about the ones after, like, what is he going to do in a match with Mark Briscoe? He's not going to get cheered over Mark Briscoe.
I also think, like, the C2 Briscoe match was sick. You know, I'm not saying you're wrong, Caden. I think your diagnosis is, I just think there's like, it was an overcorrection and now it's sort of leveling. And I'm very concerned about what he looks like in the Death Riders, to be completely honest with you. But that's a different conversation. But his work has always been good. And he's really good in this match. He grapples, Moxley brawls, right? That's the idea. And so your point, Caden, Moxley was really on his game here. And like, this may physically be as sharp as he'd been all year to this point, and maybe it was only topped by the collision match. He seems to really relish this matchup with Garcia. It seems to bring the best out of him in terms of his actual offense. I mean, don't be wrong, his best performance this year was Hangman, but I mean, like, how tight his shit was. Because the Hangman match is more of a spectacle. This is just a wrestling match, right?
Yeah.
Garcia chopping at the leg. Moxley going for the eye. You're always great when you get some eye work out there. And he was vicious in this thing. They build to Danny's superplex. He punches Moxley's knee to get there. Whole bunch of great details here, Novi. What did you think?
In a time where I am a little disconnected from things, nothing brings me back to the feeling like the Killers. I care very much about them being good and doing good things. Because of that, I was really excited to see this match when it got booked, because Daniel has felt directionless for a little while. I enjoy his work fundamentally as a wrestler, but there's not been a clear pathway for him in a notable way on the TV. And this match began the pathway that we've been seeing over the last little bit with the Red Death Rider, where Danny, who is, despite giving it his all and trying his hardest, as we've seen over the last maybe year, and here he had the crowd more with him than he usually does. I think that's a credit to Moxley and a credit to how intense and how confident he was moving in that ring. He failed to get it done against the leader. And this dynamic goes back a long time, since the start of the BCC. But this is the first time that Mox has taken a pretty notable interest in Danny, the wrestler. Before it was kind of Danielson, he was like really big on Danny. So it's really nice to see them go back to this pairing. And we saw it in the post match that he made that interest clear, but I felt that it influenced his work. Like you could kind of tell that Danny, the character, while he was in there with Mox, knew he had to really lay his shit in. He had to really get tougher. He had to work a little harder on the mat. And again, credit to Jon Moxley. He knows how to play off that. He always has, and he always will. It's what he's best at doing to me. It's what inspires me the most when I watch Jon Moxley matches. So that was just really nice to see. Again, this is the Danny that I fell in love with as a wrestler, the way he balances the mat work and the high-powered stuff. I think his striking has looked really good. But this was a more notable example of how good he can be when he gets going, more so than the Dax and the Fletcher matches from this year, which I also felt were very fucking good. I really like both those matches, but this was more about who Danny is. This was more defining him as a wrestler and as a character. And I think now, because going back, it's a couple weeks later, I can appreciate it a little bit more as the start of this arc that I'm really excited for. I understand kind of having some hangups with how it might look, but that first tag match last night was very inspiring. So yeah, this will have a special place in the history of the Death Riders and Danny. And I think it's really cool that it just all worked out. It worked out as well as it did.
Yeah, I hope it works. Look, I haven't seen that match yet, so maybe the match was awesome. I hear it was. I hear Roddy was on one. So
and
I'm
Kyle
sure was very good.
Kyle was on one. Kyle was good.
I'm sure the match was very good. My concern is that I don't want Danny to become a stoic soldier, to be honest. This
was not who he was. And in that tag match, it's not really who he was. He was still like, he had a lot of the Garcia flavor in terms of like the offense he was doing and the way he'd set up certain moves. Yeah, it was not that to me.
Okay. I just feel like he can be pretty dry as is, and I hope they don't make him drier in the name of Death Riders, because I think Jon Moxley has done a great job this last few months, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. And, Claudio is obviously great and still is really good, Yuta gets a lot of heat, Marina's looks awesome, but like, I don't want us to, I think there's a version of this where this Death Rider, I have to be careful with Death Riders, is all I'm saying. Like, yeah. They've now been on TV for a year. Like, just be careful. That's my concern about adding people. But yeah, we'll see.
I think there's enough there. Like, currently, I feel like Yuta kind of is that soldier for the Death Riders, and I think they're going to play off that parallel. At least I think they will. I hope they do. So I think that kind of like it keeps me safe in terms of the mind for a second. Until I see a little more, and maybe I'm proven otherwise. But yeah,
I mean, look, obviously Moxley cares about it, so that's always helps. I mean, it will probably give him more consistent TV time. So we'll see how things unfold. I think the big conclusion from this residency is, and this sounds more dismissive than I intend it to, Garcia is really more comfortable in these small rooms. And that is something that he's probably going to have to remedy at some point, in the sense of figuring out how to project bigger, I think he's shown an ability to do it. I think we all liked the MJF match an awful lot. That was a big show, but he definitely feels more like at home in this setting, right? Where it's like the fans are right on top of the ring, and it just feels like it suits him more, which is great, but it needs to, it's something that you ideally would even out over time. So more experience on big shows and singles matches would help. I don't know how many he's had, to be completely honest. Like, how many big shows he had a singles match on? Like major arena shows?
Not that many. Not that many.
So, that's something that hopefully eventually will come. But match was really good. Moxley was great in it. We need to stress that. He was fucking great in this match. And he's had a really good few months. No doubt about it. Okay. That's all of our matches, folks. Let's each give our top 3. Okay? Buster. You're 3. Number
Blue
3,
Panther.
I should say. You're number 3. My bad.
Number 3.
That was my fault.
Is probably Kenta and Kenoh.
Yep. Me too.
Then my number 2 is Nomura and Aoyagi, and my number 1 is Blue Panther and Ultimo Guerrero.
I have got Kenoh and Kenta at 3. Cedric Alexander and Leon Slater at 2. Blue Panther and Ultimo Guerrero at 1. Noviak.
Give me Rina Natsupoi at 3. Give me Danny and Mox at 2, and then give me Seti and Leon at number 1.
I'm not giving you anything.
Caden Lee.
I'm going to go with Endo and Watanabe at 3. Emersyn, Jayne, Mercedes, Mone at 2. Mox and DG at my 1.
There it is, folks. If you saw these matches, tell us what you think in the comments and all that good stuff. These shows, you know, we'll do them every few months, and it's a good way to check in with the wider wrestling scene. We do want this channel to be, this channel and obviously LNG Productions, to be representative of far more than just quote-unquote the big two, and we'll continue that tomorrow with the LNG Productions video, because, you know, beyond the handful of good brother stories I tell with the lads, Chuck gives pretty extensive insight into RevPro at the minute and some of the names on there. And look, we all do our jokes, right? Brit Rest, RevPro, LOL. It's all wrestling, right? It's not about enjoying all wrestling. It's just, I like us to represent it, and hopefully we'll do it with a lot of different promotions over the coming years. Before we get out of here, speaking of such, I think Bryce's thumbnail's ready for that. Okay, hang on, wait. Buster, fill it there.
JJ McCarthy's having a rough night here, folks. Again, it's only his second NFL game.
Number 2.
He's evading a sack. He's not
Decent
running.
run there.
Okay, look at this thumb.
Oh yeah.
My God.
featuring.
Chuck.
God, that is really as funny as I could have possibly imagined. That should be out tomorrow on Productions. Next week, to answer Cal's question, there will be an all-out weekend, the weekend's best, sorry. Covering, you know, because it's obviously, that's like a weekend made for those videos, right? Yeah. So we'll definitely do that and figure out what the lineups are and put that together for you guys. So much happening. And also, speaking of things coming up, this Friday, we're back to our usual time slot for AEW All Out, the story so far. This is a new series that we're going to be just...
Great band, by the way, the story so far. Great band.
I just really like that, I think that's such a cooler name than being like the top 5 matches, the top
right,
10
yeah,
matches. So it's cooler, right?
Yeah.
Especially because we're going to talk more broadly than just like the list is a vehicle. So
yeah,
what we're going to do is on Friday, I asked a question on Twitter. I said, what are your top 5 all-out matches in order? And we got a bunch of answers. I'm going to put together the results. We're going to use those results as our vehicle to talk about AEW All Out so far. This is, you know, we've now had, this is 6 of them now?
Yes.
And it's basically, the idea is a way to get in the mood for the pay-per-view without just doing like a preview.
Yeah.
The next one of these, presuming it goes well, will be really fun because we're going to do Bound for Glory. I'm going to make sure I get Alex for that. There's now been 20 Bound for Glory, so we're going to get ready for the new one by doing a similar activity. And this is something we'll just go to occasionally. I think it's a pretty cool, kind of quirky thing, and is a cool way to celebrate a show's history and lineage thus far. Other things happening this week, I want to stress again, Tuesday, we're live for NXT Homecoming. Manny the Hooper is going to be with Novi and I back at Full Sail. We are going to be live for Grindication on Thursday. On Wednesday, Alex and I are going to watch Ricky Hatton and Costa Zoo, which, if you've never seen that fight, you're in for a treat. It is a thriller. The aforementioned Friday show, hopefully Faith Fight Friday will be back too. Then this weekend, of course, AEW All Out will be live for, I do not know yet. I haven't spoken to Oracle about if he wants to do anything for WrestlePalooza, because last time I spoke to Oracle, I didn't even know how he was watching, or if he was watching WrestlePalooza. I don't know how it's going to work out, because I'd imagine there's going to be overlap, and one of them starts at like 8 p.m. my time, so we'll figure it out. But we're definitely watching All Out.
Right?
Saturday.
Okay, good.
Yeah, they're both Saturday, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we're definitely watching All Out, is the point. If you're a gold member, you're going to go All Out. So, the Grin along, not the pay-per-view. I'm not selling the pay-per-view. Tony, chill. Buster, do you have any plugs?
We'll be doing Caveman Chronicles, Los Gringos Locos next Tuesday.
Yes, the 20th, correct?
23rd.
No, the 23rd, yeah. 20th. Novi, do you have any videos coming up?
No. But you can follow me on Letterboxd at Noviak.
This guy. Caden Lee.
He's giving up.
I don't know what my letterbox is. I think you can find it if you really want.
No need.
I will be on the All Out Grin along. I'll be there a little late because I work until 4:30, but I will be there for at least the second half of the show. So
Beautiful.
I'll watch a
There
movie
you go,
tonight.
folks. If you haven't already, please do like this video. Again, we'll probably do another one of these like sometime around the end of the year, maybe. We might even, the next one we might do is something where it's like matches that kind of fell through the cracks in 2025. Like maybe as a group, we'll fire up cage matches rankings for 2025 and go, did we watch this one? You know, try and like catch up that. Maybe that'd be fun for December, but we won't do this all the time. I know this is a little more formal than our usual hijinks, but I think it's a fun way to catch up on some wrestling. And we did see some great matches along the way, I think it's fair to say. So,
Yeah.
tremendous stuff. Appreciate everyone that joined us on a Sunday. I know there's a lot going on. And I know, you know, habit is big, so routine and such. So, we'll be back on Friday this coming week. If you haven't already, please watch the draft video. It's a really good time. Alex and Shoot were wonderful, and I think Buster may have had the strongest lineup of anyone. So,
I voted bust.
check
you.
that out also.
Is that out already?
There's no way I vote. Broch made it up. Just lied to you.
I will. I guess.
appreciate the support. I appreciate the theoretical support and the future actual support.
Mentally, I was like, he's the winner.
Thank
I'm
you.
low for him.
He just lied to you, bro.
Friends don't
all right.
lie.
Everyone, have a wonderful Sunday evening. We appreciate the support, and we're excited to keep things rolling here. Even if we do have to retool because Caden Lee is, I mean, let's be honest. How long's he got left? Weeks? Maybe? Months? I don't know.
Days? Hours?
Yeah. He ain't seeing Christmas a podcaster, bro. By then he's going to be a TikTok influencer. All right.
that's right.
Have a great night, folks. We appreciate you. Keep grinning. All hail. Enjoy this outro. Goodbye.